I absolutely love shitty movies. When it comes to bad movies, I'm the preeminent expert in the field. If bad movies were disease, then I'm the patient zero. I just fucking love bad movies. That being said, I found a real shit piss stinker today. It's called Airplane Mode, and I've seen no one talking about it, at least not yet. If you're over the age of 12, then it has 23 of your least favorite people on the internet. It's a YouTube movie that stars Logan Paul and douchebags like Logan Paul, Lele Pons and shit like that, all just screaming for an hour and a half. The movie is downright insufferable. I had to do something I've never done in my 25 years. I had to break up watching the movie. I watched it in two halves. I watched the first half and I just needed a break. I needed a respite. Fucking did some jumping jacks, jogged around. I had to go back in the locker room, start slapping my teammates' ass to encourage them, except it was just my ass I was slapping. You know, good game, let's get out there in the second half and really get after it. Came back, finished it in the second chunk, and it was just as bad. I've never had to break up watching a bad movie. I always one-shot it, real time, like a real man. I'm no pussy bitch when it comes to bad movies. I can handle just about anything, but this was a whole new beast. I'm not exaggerating. It is that bad. And what makes it even worse is I can't show you all the bad things because of how this movie is going to be protected by YouTube since it's one of their originals. All I can do is show you the trailer to illustrate it, and the trailer's abominable. The trailer shows you just about everything you need to know about how bad the movie is and what you're in for. But I mean, it's a real shame because I wanted to do what I did for Max Steel, where I break down the movie start to finish and I use clips from the movies to talk about why it's bad, what's going on. But I can't do that for this one, but I will do my best to illustrate and put into words why this movie is as bad as it is. I know the big shitter going around the internet right now is called Swiped, and yeah, it's a really fucking bad movie. That movie sucks fuck real hard. But it's got nothing on Airplane Mode. Airplane Mode makes that movie look like a fucking Oscar nominee. That movie, in comparison to Airplane Mode, is a Citizen's Kane. Airplane Mode is a whole new ballgame that I've not experienced before. So let's just go ahead, I'm going to show you the trailer a little bit here, and we'll start breaking it down scene by scene and just going over the trailer.
Okay, seriously, what is #Acon?
Bro, it's the biggest social media convention ever.
Yeah, man, #Acon. Everyone's gonna be there. People get laid at convention.
Is that like a thing?
Let's do it!
Yeah, so it's about Logan Paul and other equally douchey internet personalities getting together to go to #Acon, a giant social media convention, and this is one of the loudest goddamn things I've ever heard in my life. This movie makes a head-on-head train collision sound peaceful in comparison. If I was inside the Chernobyl nuclear reactor during the first steam explosion, that would have been quieter than this movie, I imagine. This movie is beyond loud. I can't even express that enough. It's as if all of these talentless goobers thought to be a good actor, all they had to do was be super fucking loud, because that's all they do. It's as if you've wandered into a daycare after all the kids have had 3 cans of Coke and are now going into cardiac arrest from a sugar overdose.
Hide your drugs and hide your liquors, because we searching everybody around here.
Not only is it super fucking loud and a complete buttfuck of all your senses, it also is dated with some of the stalest memes of all time. They have the hide your kids, hide your wife guy there for that one, and they have a lot of other super stale memes. It's unbelievable. They have the leave Britney alone, and it's even in the trailer. It's coming up, so just fucking prepare yourself. Get one hand on your dick and ready to rumble, because it's brutal. It is just so... I can't even imagine scripting this movie or signing up to be a part of this movie. How anyone could be proud of it or think it's gonna do well. I can't even imagine a kid enjoying those kind of references. Half the references they make in this movie are older than their audience, so they're not even gonna get them to begin with. It's unbelievable how just fucking delusional they are to think that this movie would work in any capacity. I don't know when it was filmed. Maybe it was filmed in the past, but it came out this week. So it's a new movie, thus it's going to be judged as such. It also has this identity crisis because it doesn't seem to know what kind of demographic it wants to hit. The audience of all of these YouTubers are primarily children. Every single douchebag here has an audience of kids. And yet the movie opens with Logan Paul trying to jerk off while having video sex with his girlfriend. So it's not exactly suitable for kids, which is their audience, and nothing, no jokes or anything they make in this movie would work on anyone over the age of 12. So I don't know what the fuck kind of area it was trying to hit, but it is truly lost within its own asshole.
Please turn your cellular to airplane setting.
I'd rather die than turn my...
What the hell is going on?
It's the cell phone!
I understand most YouTubers have the mentality of a 9-year-old, but my god, that's really going hard on that stereotype there. They fucking turn into a football team dogpiling over a fumble for no reason. Like nothing had happened yet. They just said airplane mode, and then everyone turned into like a goddamn feral animal as they were just fucking ferociously taking photos of each other and ripping their shirts off. It makes no sense in the movie either. It's just really fucking dumb. I get the intention is for it to be, lol, how wacky these internet stars would rather turn into homunculus fighting over drops of water than turn on airplane mode, because they are so connected and so fucking dumb. And people wonder why everyone looks at YouTubers as fucking vapid losers and no one respects the profession. Probably because of shit like this. This is kind of the perception most people have of YouTubers, because these are huge channels and they are huge fucking douchebag loser man children. So I do get it, and it's rough to watch it in this movie. It's embarrassing. Just even sitting there watching it, it's fucking embarrassing.
The pirates are dead! What should we do? I need you to figure this out. Maybe someone else has a plan. Leave Brittany alone!
Yeah, there's the leave Britney alone thing I gave you a warning about earlier. It's really that bad. It truly is. And then the dude pulls a Logan Paul by filming himself with dead bodies, and then they have to fly the plane because the plane's gone down because everyone's on their phone. It's super shitty. Super, super shitty. And again, the references and memes and stuff are beyond outdated. I was shocked to not see the Crazy Frog or Peanut Butter Jelly Time come into play. Maybe it did happen and I'm just fucking forgetting about it. Maybe the Men in Black have already neuralized me to help me out and not remember most of this movie, but my god, it is that bad. It sucks some fat dickhole. I really can't. I want to show parts of this movie to help show you how bad it is, but since my Max Steel video got blocked, even though I did exactly what I Hate Everything and all the other ones do, I'm not going to do that with a YouTube movie because they're even stricter than something like the Max Steel Studios. So I'm not going to take that chance of this getting blocked because I need people to see how bad this movie is. No one's talking about it, and this is the worst movie out right now. Easily. It makes Swiped look so good in comparison.
Straight.
You're right.
I got this.
You're not a terrorist, are you, mate?
No, I'm a social media sensation. There is no social media convention. With all of you dead.
Even the fucking trailers mainly screams, and the movie goes even harder. Of the hour-and-a-half runtime, I'd say about an hour of it is just straight screaming in agony, or yelling shitty jokes, or yelling to make your punchline comedic or something. I don't really know, but it's just mainly yelling, just really guttural. What, you're not laughing? Oh man, what? But we did everything we could. The writing was so good. The writing makes fucking Neil Breen look like a mastermind, and in his own right, Neil Breen is. But you get what I'm saying. It's so fucking bad. And I also hate this trend, and this is definitely gonna ruffle a few scrotums. I hate where dancing is the joke, like goofy dancing. That epic dancing stuff, that's the comedy. I hate that. That shit sucks ass. And that's a big portion of this too. Dancing is a lot of times what the joke is. And that sucks some fat ass too.
Give me that selfie stick! Do you know how to drive a 767?
I just wanted to say this movie fucking sucks. Just a quick reminder.
I got this!
I mean, if you don't got this, then who got this?
I guess I'm gonna need to get this!
Oh, this best gonna get got this!
Nobody better to go and get this and get me!
After sitting through the whole movie, I feel like I need to be either admitted to Arkham Asylum or go to some type of Alcoholics Anonymous, like Airplane Anonymous or something. It's really that bad. It's never something I say lightly when something is genuinely awful, because I like to poke fun at it and find like, hey, you know, it was really bad, but enjoyably bad in these points here and there, and I did enjoy my time with it because I love bad movies. I love making fun of bad movies. I like getting lost in a bad movie. It's just so fun. Airplane mode made it truly awful. It made me hate movies in general. It made me hate the entire medium that allowed this catastrophe to enter my life. It's truly just an affront to God and the universe itself. It's just that bad. I really can't shit on it enough. I'd really like if I could show you more from the movie itself, but I know the video would get blocked, so I'm not even gonna bother. But man, it is just so unbelievably horrible. I wouldn't recommend this for a bad movie night or so bad it's good or haha let's make fun of the YouTubers in here, because you can't. It's just mind-numbingly bad. Like, I honestly wouldn't be surprised if it gave me hemorrhoids again. It's so bad. Really just super bad. That's it. So yeah. This is embarrassing for me to admit, but I haven't watched the Nicolas Cage movie in years. I pride myself on being a virtuoso of rotten dog shit bad movies, and Nicolas Cage is like the Jesus Christ of terrible movies. And I haven't indulged in any of his fine cinematic masterpieces in way too long. And I watched a video from Elvis the Alien the other day where he reviews a movie called Between Worlds, which is a Nicolas Cage fronted hemorrhoid, and I thought that looked extraordinary. So I decided to sit down and watch it myself today, and this is probably one of the best so bad it's good movies I've seen in quite some time. So I figured we'll go through it, not exactly as thoroughly as Elvis did. He did the whole movie. I'm just going to focus on my favorite parts and what makes this movie so goddamn special. So please join me on this adventure as we travel through space, time, and Nicolas Cage's flaccid cock flopping around. This movie does have a lot of Nicolas Cage having sex with a lot of titties and rock and roll, so I'm going to have to censor a good bit of it, unfortunately. Yeah, this is actually one of the opening shots of the film, so you know you're in for a treat. It opens with a man's ass crack and slowly panning up the crack like they're reverse swiping a credit card through it, and then we see Nicolas Cage wandering in here looking like he just stepped out of a time machine. So Nicolas Cage plays a truck driver, but a badass truck driver. A truck driver who looks like he could be a biker. And throughout the film, you'll notice that it looks like Nicolas Cage has covered himself in grease and hair gel. Like every ounce of his body seems to be mildly damp, as if he's fallen into a pit of Vaseline, and the director just said, fuck it, it doesn't matter, we don't have time to clean him, we'll just film the whole thing today while he's covered in this kind of thin layer of filth.
How's business?
Just ring it up, Ricardo.
Can I interest you in our dessert cart?
Keep the change.
This whole interaction looks like a glitch in a video game where two NPCs are trying to talk to each other but the dialogue is rendered incorrectly, so you have the wrong lines in the wrong places. Ring it up, Ricardo. Can I interest you in dessert? Keep the change, waves a hot dog. It just feels so fucking weird. It's like somebody wrote this that's not an actual human. Like, this is like evidence of reptilians analyzing human behavior. What do humans like? Well, they like hot dogs. They like to keep change. That sounds like a good interaction for the first shot.
You don't understand. We don't hurt women down south.
Oh, please stop! Stop!
You all right?
No, please stop!
Next time, why don't you wrestle a man-gator?
Stop! Oh, shit!
Now we're fucking cooking. Why don't you wrestle a man-gator? I don't know what that means, but shit, it sounds scary. I mean, if someone tells me to wrestle a man-gator, I'm saying, fuck no. That's like some Batman Arkham Knight shit with Man-Bat or something. I don't know what the man-gator is. Sounds like some type of cryptozoology myth, like the Loch Ness Monster. Like, oh god, the man-gator's real, he just came in and fucked my grandpa. Tell the papers. I don't know what the fuck a man-gator is, but he really showed that guy. Nicolas Cage busting shit in to save the woman and beat a man who was hurting her, and then scaring him and putting the fear of God in him by bringing up the legendary man-gator.
What did you do?
I saved you.
Honestly, a pretty dumb question from this girl right here. What did you do? I mean, he wasn't keeping it a secret. He did it right in front of you. You saw with your own eyes. He punched and then kicked the man. I'm no detective, and I was able to sniff out what happened here.
Hey, Buster. The state troopers are coming. I'm gonna need you to explain what just happened. Okay.
It's always such a delight to hear the word Buster tossed around when someone calls somebody else Buster. I've never heard it used towards a woman, but he just follows her around. Hey, Buster, gonna need you to stick around and tell the state troopers what just happened here. Don't know how the state troopers are coming. Nobody called them, but I'm guessing the state troopers just have a fucking sixth sense where they can just detect when somebody was beaten in a gas station bathroom across the country. Couldn't tell you, but Buster needs to stick around here to make sure that Nicolas Cage doesn't get framed for something bad.
Do you have kids?
Do I have kids?
I don't know. Family?
Wife and daughter, you like?
Oh, beautiful.
Oops, they're dead.
That is potentially one of the best moments I've seen in a Nicolas Cage movie. What a bait and switch, huh? Do you have kids? Do I have kids? What about a family? Do you like my family? Yeah, they're fucking dead! You goddamn idiot! What, you couldn't tell that they were dead by the picture? Like, immediately they're trying to establish that Nicolas Cage is a fucking weirdo. But for no reason, because the rest of the movie, his weirdness isn't like a key component of anything. He's just fucking psychotic and odd for the sake of being some kind of strange weirdo that parents would warn their kids to stay in school to avoid becoming.
Holy shit. Oh, I don't know. Could you give me a lift to Mobile?
So immediately coming off like a crazy person who escaped Arkham Asylum by saying, oops, his family's dead, she asks him to give her a ride to the hospital where her 18-year-old daughter was recently in an accident and is just coming out of a coma. Now, I can't understand at all why the fuck she would ask this madman to give her a ride when she was getting in her own vehicle to drive herself there. He literally ripped her out of her own car in order to call her a buster again and talk about what had happened. So she had her way of getting to the hospital herself, but for some reason insisted that this total fucking lunatic stranger at the gas station, who probably smells like 15 bags of Doritos that were mixed in with raw sewage, give her a ride to the hospital instead. Makes sense.
When I was a teenager, I almost drowned. It has to feel like I'm drowning, so I asked this boy, Winnie, to choke me.
Yeah, so I'll go ahead and cut this X-Men origin story in half here and sum it up. After giving her a ride, or during the ride, she explains to Nicolas Cage that her superpower is when she's being strangled and on the verge of death, she can bring souls into their bodies again, because she almost drowned when she was a kid. So now she has this ability to take souls from the spirit realm and bring them into their bodies again, but only if she's being strangled to the point of near death.
Why is she?
Ma'am?
We're gonna have to ask you to step outside.
Get the crash cart.
I'm sorry.
You know what I remember most? You know what I remember most? That when he left?
After arriving at the hospital, her daughter begins to die, and in order to try and save her, she asks Nicolas Cage to strangle her in the staircase area, which he does without question. For some reason, Nicolas Cage believes her insane story about being able to take souls after being strangled and just goes with it.
She could have died. You all could have died. You know what? Get the fuck out of here. Get out of my face.
After Julie brings her daughter Billy's soul back into Billy's body, her friends arrive at the hospital to check on her. And as you can tell by how they look, they actually are bikers. Billy was in a motorcycle accident, which is why she's in the hospital. And Julie, in a fit of rage, kicks out the leather jacket wearing friends of Billy, and they're shocked and very upset.
I haven't really been with anyone since my wife and daughter, you know, I don't even remember how to have sex. Sex?
I remember.
You
I can
remember?
show you.
Oh, really? You want to have sex? Hmm?
That's going to be a common theme when it comes to the sex scenes, which there is a lot. When Nicolas Cage fucks, it sounds like war. It sounds like he's declaring war on vagina. He starts getting real fucking wild and screaming like he's trying to scare a bear away, and he doesn't give a fuck about collateral damage. Here he just slaps a lamp down and breaks it. In this woman's house, it's not even his lamp. He just says, get this shit out of here. I don't like things watching me.
All this dark. Hold me, baby. Hold daddy tight.
Out of here.
Giddy up.
I'd love to see what the script of this disaster looks like. Like, what the fuck is the point? Okay, so, like I said, I'm only covering, like, the best moments that I really like in the movie. To kind of fill in the blanks here and connect the dots for you, Billy gets to leave the hospital. They bring her to Julie and Nicolas Cage's house here. Nicolas Cage doesn't live here. He's just staying with Julie for a little while because she's starting to feel for him. And now Billy's here. She has all kinds of medicine and shit. And for some reason, Nicolas Cage just takes a swig while he's hugging Julie, which plays no role in anything. He just does it because he's a fucking lunatic. Like, I'm surprised he didn't just put it up his fucking butthole right in front of her and then say, giddy up and slap himself and the fucking medicine squirts out or something. It's, like, everything he does and everything he says is just fucking weird. Like, the whole daddy tight. But it's weird for no reason. Typically, when a movie tries to portray a character like this, it's working towards something, but I'm gonna spoil the surprise and ruin Christmas now. It's working towards nothing. He's just weird because he's a fucking weirdo. It doesn't play any central role in the plot or his development or anything.
So where am I sleeping tonight?
Fuck me! Can you like me to play? Fuck me!
After Nicolas Cage has a real case of the giggles and laughs harder than anyone's laughed in the last 45 years, they have sex on the couch. Again. And he's a fucking weirdo about it. Again. He just keeps repeating and screaming, fuck me, fuck me, fuck me, as if he's cheering on two high schoolers having a fight in the hallway. And then he goes, woo, a couple times.
So, do you want a beer?
Does the Tin Man have a sheet metal cock?
What an incredible expression. Does the Tin Man have a sheet metal cock? I'm gonna start doing shit like that myself. Hey Charlie, do you want a beer? Well, do I cry when I jerk off? Give me that.
Okay, I'll tell you what. You go to hell. Sorry.
Alright, I'll take a moment to fill you in on what's going on with the story here, if you can even call this a story. So, in a nutshell, Nicolas Cage drives trucks. Nicolas Cage sucks at his job. He took 3 days off to hang out and fuck Julie here and help with Billy's recovery, and understandably his boss wasn't too happy about that. And he's saying, look man, can you at least give me some money that I'm owed from you not doing your job? And Nicolas Cage is upset about that. And during all of this, Billy's acting very strange towards Nicolas Cage and gives him a hand job under the covers one time. But he doesn't tell Julie and Billy doesn't tell Julie. So now Nicolas Cage, being the suave gentleman he is getting some action from both Julie and Julie's daughter.
The fire spread into... I'm sorry, I can't say her name because I get very upset.
I'm sorry.
She's my little girl. She's 5. She was 5. Well, they say that the smoke got to her before the fire did, so...
Mary.
You don't know what you're saying. Mary's dead, so you have some respect for my wife, or I'll spank it into you.
Nicolas Cage confides in Julie about what happened to his family. His wife's cigarette lit the couch on fire, which killed his wife and his daughter in a tragic fire. And then explains why the truck means so much and that $500 needs to be paid or else he doesn't get the truck or some shit like that. So Julie goes into town to pay it for him, being the nice woman that she is, and while she's in town, Nicolas Cage fucks her daughter. But it's not actually Julie's daughter, Billy, he's fucking. It's his wife, Mary, in Billy's body because Julie made a colossal fuck up when bringing the soul back into Billy's body. Instead of bringing Billy's soul back into Billy's body, she brought Mary's soul into Billy's body because Mary has been haunting Nicolas Cage.
Oh, God, you're such a little tart. Such a little tart.
You're such a little tart. I mean, this script, it's like if Attaway General was written in collaboration with the lady who wrote 50 Shades of Grey, and both of them were overdosing on Xanax while writing it. Who the fuck would say that during sex? Oh, you're such a little tart. Ooh, a little tart. Oh, you little silly munchkin. Ooh. Like, it's just fucking odd. So yeah, now after Nicolas Cage is convinced that this is his wife Mary in Billy's body, they start fucking a lot, and he's kind of tired of Julie now.
A cat? You don't have a cat. You don't have a cat.
Probably one of the best sex scenes in any movie ever made, if I had to venture a guess. I mean, you could feel the tension, you know? He's interrogating her about a cat that he knows she doesn't have, so why is she saying that it's a cat making noise? That makes no sense. He's starting to put some pieces of the puzzle together here. She's just outright wrong. But before he can finally crack the code, he blows his load. And then Julie comes home and catches them.
Oh, no. Who you just fucked? That's Billy. That's my daughter.
I'm sorry to say this. Billy is dead. That is Mary.
Put your fucking pants on. You're gross.
Well, I don't know what makes you say that, but...
After he's been caught red-handed, busted nuts and all, he starts telling her that no, that's not her daughter Billy, it's his wife Mary, and he starts pursuing her in the same way he did earlier, but this time not calling her Buster, and he has his wiener out the whole time. So, and then in his defense, she did go a little far in calling him gross because his wiener's flopping around. I think that was a little bit rude, like, it's not like they haven't fucked 10 times in the movie already, okay? So his cock can't be that disgusting. So, you know, I could see that being a bit of a low blow, and as you can see from Nicolas Cage's reaction, he found it to be a bit rude as well. I had to cut the sound out of this part because a song plays, and I'm not gonna get butt-fucked by that copyright garbage. So he's crawling around with the jack-in-the-box that his daughter used to own. He pours gasoline on himself and then lights up a cigarette and sets himself on fire. That's where the movie ends. I'm not even going to bother explaining how it gets to this point. I'll just sum it up by saying Julie dies, his wife's soul gets taken to another spot, Billy's back, and he's just had enough. Overall, I do think the movie is so bad it's good in a lot of ways. It's fun to make fun of, but there is a lot of time in this movie that drags a lot, where there's nothing goofy happening or shitty happening. It's just actual silence, which kind of sucks, but in a way that's also kind of silly. Because the silence is just out of nowhere, like they'll be mid-conversation and then all of a sudden everything stops and they just like fall asleep with their eyes open in front of each other. So yeah, overall I enjoyed it and probably one of Nicolas Cage's finest works. That's about it. So yeah. I wasn't always this fearless, hulking testosterone tyrant that I am today. It's embarrassing to say this out loud, but actually at one point in my life, I was a child. And as a kid, I was really afraid of horror movies, if you can believe that. Nowadays, I find them to be enjoyably bad. I really like horror movies a lot, but mainly because they're so bad, they're good. But this wasn't always the case. When I was in middle school, just some Lunchables eating, algebra studying little idiot, I couldn't stand even the idea of a horror movie. I used to cover my eyes during the commercials for horror movies during football games, or I'd just leave the room till the horror movie advertisement was over. It was too much for me. And I did finally nut up one day, and I went to the mall with my friends in probably 6th or 7th grade and saw my first horror movie, One Missed Call. It's widely considered one of the worst horror movies ever made. I think it still has a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes, but it was a movie that scared me to my very core. It changed me. It's probably the reason why I'm not afraid of horror movies now, because I got all of the possible fear one could experience across their entire life out within those 2 hours of watching that film in theaters. It was traumatizing to me. And to make it even worse, I saw it with a girl I had a crush on at the time, and I was like, okay, this is going to be big for me. She's going to see how strong and cool I am when I'm not afraid of this. I'll just fucking buckle down and make it through it, no problem. Pretend it was easy. But that plan fell apart, went straight in the shitter almost immediately. I was screaming at every jump scare. I was even tearing up at one point. My blood pressure must have been at 500, and my heart was probably close to exploding with how fast it was beating. It was miserable, and there's no way she thought I was cool. She probably thought she was going to need to call 911 or something. Like, my whole group was probably concerned. I was the only one reacting this way. I was going nuts. From outside that theater auditorium, people must have thought there was a kid being tortured in there. It must have sounded like that scene in Casino Royale when James Bond is getting his nuts fucking blasted by the villain. I was going crazy. And the horror movie, like, looking back on it, wasn't like a good idea or anything. One Missed Call is basically you get a phone call, they leave a voice message, and it's the sound of you dying. And then as the movie goes, the person who receives that voice message does die in that same way that they heard on the phone. Not the scariest of ideas for a horror movie ever, but this was during a time when the Motorola Razr was still new and I had one, so I had like my own custom ringtone, which was Let Your Shoulder Lean by them Franchise Boys, and you know, technology was this like weird and wacky new thing, so that idea was enough to scare me. And then the movie itself had a lot of jump scares, which also like I'd never experienced a jump scare before, so when that shit was happening, I couldn't contain myself. So I found a video that I actually recorded, I think almost 2 years, maybe even 3 years ago with Jackson, where we went back and watched One Missed Call, kind of like as a way of going back and conquering my fear, because you know, it was time for revenge. Like, you know, this movie scared me one time, but not this time. So Jackson and I went back and watched it. He wanted to see what movie actually scared me, and I wanted to see if the movie was even scary to begin with. So I'll just show you some clips from that.
So wait, were you scared because of the contents of the movie, or did the quality of the movie scare you? Which one?
It was definitely the movie itself. Like, it set out to scare people, and it certainly worked on me. It wasn't like an ironic thing.
So do you remember anything about this? The setting or the characters?
I remember certain scenes, but I don't overall remember, like, what happens.
That place is on fire. Why was she getting so close to this?
She saw a cool fish.
Oh no. Ah! So wait, the phone call says you're gonna die, or would the phone call have said you're gonna die when you lean over the fish pond and I grab your face and pull you in?
You're misunderstanding. So the phone call is you screaming as you die. Like, it's your death.
The fuck, did the cat get the phone call?
Yeah, man, so now I'm having sex and phone sex at the same time.
Phone sex.
That was some alpha Chad shit. Now I'm having sex and phone sex at the same time.
From now on, I only go to parties where no one gets cremated.
That's probably pretty cool. Pretty good rule of thumb.
Considering my 24-year-old daughter drowned.
It says it's from Shelly.
So just don't answer.
They're calling from Shelly's phone.
I think that's one of their genius plans towards the end. Maybe that's how they beat her.
That's...
It sounds like Charlie Brown's parents talking.
Yeah, what is it?
Do you see what I mean now?
That's your voice.
No. Oh, it's her voice?
Yeah, that was her.
It tell you how you die, but it plays your last few seconds.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's another thing. They always leave behind that little ball. I remember that.
A Dragon Ball.
Oh, baby.
How did she fall?
Yeah.
Yeah, he has.
Absolutely.
And that's why he's so freaked out, yeah.
Just a nice hobgoblin going back to work.
Head screwed on.
Is his head still screwed on?
It was that goddamn hobgoblin.
Setting up a C4 explosion up there. He just spat that out. I'm excited to see how she dies here.
This whole scene, I closed my eyes, or not closed my eyes, but I turned my head away from and covered my eyes.
Really?
Yep.
You were that much of a pussy?
I was.
Oh, yeah, I'm interested in finding out what was so scary about this movie.
For you, darling.
Oh, fuck.
Did that actually scare you?
A little bit. I don't know if it was because I was holding a phone or what. Maybe I'm scared of phones now.
Yeah, this whole scene.
Jesus of Nazareth! You haunt this child of
Looking at it now, though, it's like a video game cutscene.
Yeah, this is really bad.
Stop tormenting! Haunt this place!
I told you not to go on this phony baloney show.
Hey, guys, take it easy. I'm a cop.
I'm a cop. I can kill Satan. Why is no one helping him?
They're not paid to help.
You okay?
Look, your friend's fine. Oh, that's fucking disgusting. Oh, now he's gonna look through it and he's gonna get fucking killed. Oh no! This is the cheesiest.
You don't know that for sure yet, Jackson. Anything can happen. It's one missed call. This Thunderdome is
I dare you.
No! No, wait! No!
So the kid is locked in a perpetual asthma attack. That sucks. Why did the mother wait so long to do this?
Now she's free to roam the earth.
She'll do the same thing, but with compliments. You hear yourself having a good day on the voicemail. So the mother didn't really save her. Just kind of threw her back into the phone.
I swear every one of these movies ends the same way.
They really do. You all know how much I love horrible, bad movies, and I am just giddy with excitement right now to talk about a movie I just saw that I now consider to be the goofiest film ever made. I just got back from the theater from seeing Moonfall, which is Roland Emmerich's new disaster porn. He's the man behind, like, 2012, Day After Tomorrow, some classics. And with this bad boy, he has created the stinker masterpiece, a smelly magnum opus. This movie, I can't even believe actually exists. I saw it in IMAX because I don't like to just watch a bad movie. I want to feel a bad movie, and goddamn did I feel it deep in my ass. This was an absolutely wild ride from start to finish. If somebody asked me what the best movie ever made was, I'd say Moonfall. If someone asked me what the worst movie ever made was, I'd say Moonfall. I don't know whether to give Moonfall a 100% on the moist meter or a 0. This fucking thing was so beautifully awful in all of the perfect ways. I just can't describe it. It is the actual perfect storm of dog shit put into film. The movie was like 2 hours long, and I swear to God, it felt like 20 minutes. I was upset when this movie ended. I just wanted it to keep going and going. This movie could have ran 8 hours, and I wouldn't have complained if it kept up this intensity. It was an amazing experience. So, spoiler alert, I want to go into it. I really want to fucking peel apart these stinky cheeks and tell you all about this movie start to finish. And let me just go ahead and say, this movie had the audacity to try and hint at a universe, like a Moonfall extended universe, kind of like the Marvel or Star Wars universe they created. Moonfall did that towards the end, and I need a sequel. The human race deserves a sequel to Moonfall. So let's get into it. So the movie starts with our main character, Brian, played by Patrick Wilson, in space with our other extremely important character, I forgot her name already, but played by Halle Berry. That's another thing about this movie. I saw it with Andrew, and the second we left the theater, we couldn't remember a single one of the characters' names apart from, like, Brian and the cat's name, which was Fuzz Aldrin. So, like, that's another thing. Like, all the characters are super forgettable. I'm getting ahead of myself. So, Halle Berry and Patrick Wilson's character, they're in space working on the space shuttle, and there's another character there with them that's helping, and then all of a sudden, a massive cloud of space dust blasts the ship. It tears it to pieces, knocks out Halle Berry, and it sends Brian, like, scrambling to get inside, and then the other guy, who I don't even know if they even gave a name to, his line gets cut, and he just gets sent, like, quadruple backflipping through space for all eternity and dies. And then when they arrive back at Earth, they blame Brian for the whole event, despite there being camera footage of this space dust being the culprit, destroying the ship. They're blaming Brian. They're like, you are a disgrace. Your negligence caused the death of an astronaut and the destruction of so much money worth of, NASA parts. You're going off book now. Get out of NASA. So then he gets fired. His wife leaves him. His kid hates him. He's now like this drunkard who is really just scraping by and struggling. For some reason, the whole trial was public and he's insisting he was innocent. It was this very strange technological space dust that just fucking flew through like a fart, and he traced it back to a corner, like a quarter of the moon called like Mars Capri Sun or something. I already forgot the name of it. But no one believed him. Everyone mocked him. He got fired. His life ruined as a result. And then we're introduced to a very important character called KC. KC is a conspiracy theorist who really cracks the code that the moon is falling out of orbit. And KC believes it's because the moon is actually a megastructure put there by aliens. So he has his own little group of conspiracy theorists that also believe in the megastructures. And he tries very hard to bring this information to NASA to let them know that the moon is out of orbit, shit's gonna get rough. So just like in Majora's Mask, the moon is coming closer to Earth, and the closer it gets to Earth, the worse it is for humans because the gravitational pull from Earth will rip apart the moon, sending all of these giant chunks into the planet, destroying pretty much everything. A doomsday event, an apocalypse. And no one's believing KC, even though he has all of the research and evidence to back it up. So eventually he turns to Twitter, and he makes an anonymous post with all of the evidence, and miraculously overnight the entire world believes him. It becomes the #1 trend, and every single news outlet everywhere is talking about it. NASA comes forward to corroborate it. Now everyone knows, yep, moon's about to fuck our shit up. So then they all try and come up with plans, and I swear to God, every character in this movie makes the stupidest decisions at every possible moment. It blew me away. It's like every character, even the ones that are supposed to be smart, like the scientists, are like lobotomized zombies. They get nothing right, none of it makes sense at all, but even suspending disbelief, you can't help but just sit there and scratch your head like there's no way they just said or did that. I'm trying to sum it up to give you the cliff notes before I start really dissecting it. So once it's been confirmed that the moon's coming to the Earth, Brian, the disgraced astronaut, teams up with Casey. They hang out for a bit, and then Halle Berry, who's still employed by NASA, just out of nowhere sends a helicopter to pick both of them up to help them defeat the moon, because now the moon's like a raid boss. So then they come up with a plan to take an EMP device to the moon. Everyone believes them now. Also, NASA confirmed all of this and then really figured they needed Brian's help because they sent a crew of 3 astronauts up to check out that crater, and then the giant space dust came up in the shape of like a goddamn ringworm, and it kills all 3 of them. So then they conclude yep, there's something weird and wacky going on with the moon. It's got some kind of artificial intelligence living inside of it. So then that's when Brian and KC come. My God. I really want to get deeper into it, but I want to give everyone the full overview of the movie so you can see it. This whole movie is taking the insanity of a Neil Breen movie, but giving it $100 million to realize the craziness. A better example for all the weebs. If you've seen Gurren Lagann, where they start underground, and then by the end of the show, they're in space mechs throwing galaxies at each other. It's that, but for pseudoscience and conspiracies. It's fucking mind-blowing. So Brian, Casey, Halle Berry, they're at NASA. Everyone knows Doomsday's coming, so they're all for some reason taking refuge in Colorado. The word Colorado must have been mentioned a million fucking times throughout this movie. This had to be just some kind of propaganda to increase tourism there or something. And also you see Kaspersky on billboards, and apparently all of NASA is powered by Kaspersky antivirus, because every time they fire on a computer it just says Kaspersky. And that's all there is on the screen. It's just they look at Kaspersky and things start helping. But I keep getting too specific. Again, everyone's at NASA. They come up with a plan. They get this old EMP device that they're going to take to the moon and blow up the space worm. And this also confirms that space dust that blew up the ship that Brian was on initially were nanobots from the AI. So they've got the plan, they've got the EMP, they've now got Brian to pilot it, but something goes wrong. The moon's getting closer, so an earthquake happens, and it cracks the coolant in one of the engines, and it plays out exactly like this. I'm not exaggerating. Halle Berry and Brian go up to check out what's going on. One guy says, the coolant's leaking, and I don't know how to fix it. No one here can really fix it. And she's like, are you sure? And he's like, yeah. He's like, all right, well, that's the end of the mission. I guess everyone needs to go home. So every single person at NASA, except for Halle Berry, Casey, and Brian, as well as 2 other data analysts and a couple of military guys, all leave and abandon the Earth and just yep, I guess we just have to accept this is the apocalypse and there's nothing we can do. Just because one of the coolants was leaking a little bit, and then the solution, I shit you not, was we'll just fly without it. Apparently the entire time they could just fly without it because the moon was close enough, and Casey knew that and then relayed the information a little late to Halle Berry, and she just didn't bother to call anyone back. She's like, all right, well, I already told them they can leave, they can go, we can do it ourselves. So then we get our heroes strapping into the spaceship, ready to take on the moon. And as the moon's getting closer, it's causing gravitational disturbances. So there's water that's getting sucked up, and it's like giant waves of water that are just standing there. And those two like data analysts that stayed behind that I briefly mentioned, they get evacuated. They get into a helicopter with the military people because the waves are getting closer as the moon's passing over. And I can't even believe this fucking happened. They take off with plenty of time to escape, but instead of going away from the waves, the goddamn pilot kamikazes into the waves, and it's supposed to be this emotional moment of, oh my god, there is no escape. But like you can see, when the helicopter takes off, it could have just gone right, but instead inexplicably just goes left into the waves. And I'm missing so many impressive details. Brian's son, who hates him, went to jail. Brian got him out of jail. And for some reason, the military flew Brian's son here just to be in like the middle of the shitstorm. So Brian's son's there and then needs to take off in a car away from the facility as the waves are getting closer. But instead of taking off, he goes to a mountain and parks just to check out his dad's spaceship as the waves are getting closer. So the spaceship takes off, it's beating the waves, but his son and then Halle Berry's son is also with him, and then their babysitter are all just in this car, outside of this car watching, and then eventually the kid's like, all right, now it's time to probably go, as the waves are literally like bashing the bumper of the car. It's like, okay, we've had our fun. So then they engage on this high-speed chase against the moon, and then they eventually get hunted by people that are like scavenging for parts. Oh my god, it's so much. So everything on Earth's going to shit, the gravity's all fucked up. Halle Berry, Brian, and Casey are now heading towards the moon, and it turns out the AI that inhabits the moon is attracted to electronics, but only if there's organic life inside of it. So the EMP they brought is useless because the AI won't bite it. So they're using it like bait and trying to fish with it, but for some reason it needs to be inside of it. They don't explain why. The AI was circling it and like playing patty cake with the EMP, and they didn't blow it up for no reason. They just concluded that it needs to be inside. So they get the EMP back and go deeper in the moon, and it turns out the moon is actually a Dyson sphere built by aliens, confirming Casey's theory that also happens to grow potatoes inside of it for some reason. And it's a Dyson sphere encapsulating a white dwarf that it's using for its power source, and the AI is sapping the power from the white dwarf. And then the AI gets alerted to the crew that's in the spaceship that's flying around, and then a door opens in the Dyson sphere as the AI is tracking them, and it shuts, closing out the AI and then saving the crew. And then it turns out that the Dyson sphere wasn't built by just any aliens, it was built by ancient humans, and they communicate to Brian through celestial beams and flashbacks of his son talking to him, kind of like in Mass Effect 3 where the Reapers take on the body of a child. They did that for Brian in order to talk to him. It was a sentient AI being, like it was an AI construct for the Dyson sphere. It was built by humans that billions of years ago were spacefaring, hyper-advanced technological superstars, and eventually they created an AI that turned on them via like kind of like Skynet, and it made all of them go extinct. But before their final extinction, they built giant moons that they would toss out to corners of the universe to try and remake humanity elsewhere. And this just happened to be the last surviving one, the only one the AI couldn't find until this movie. So that's the explanation there. Eventually they upgrade the EMP, the AI construct on the moon, like turbocharges the EMP, then gets some defense systems going that just start shooting bullets at the AI, and then they're escaping the moon. Casey blasts open the hatch with himself inside because he says, you know, an organic being needs to be with the technology in order for the AI to bite me. And he's like, oh my god, Casey's gonna die. Brian and Halle Berry are upset, and Casey's like, no, it's fine. So the AI starts eating him, and he's like, you underestimated us, blows up the EMP. And then, you know, Casey's dead, AI's gone now, so the moon is back. So then the moon leaves Earth, and now it's just this giant Dyson sphere that is now outside of Earth, and everyone's happy. Earth's super fucked. Everything flooded, everything got absolutely destroyed, but there's still some people left, and now the moon's our friend again. And, yeah, that's not where it ends. So Casey didn't actually fully die. The AI construct on the moon installation actually copied his consciousness into their database, and now Casey has become the moon itself. And the last line is, "We have work to do," which hints at expanding the universe and bringing all of the other AI that is still out there into the fold. And my God, I can't wait to see a sequel. I pray there is one, because this was amazing. I am not even doing this justice with my brief explanation. I need to get into the nitty-gritty of it to tell you just how fucking off the wall this shit was. So the billion-year-old humans, they basically just created Halo. They just stole Halo's plot for a little bit. The installations they made back then were Halo rings. They all lived on Halo rings. And the AI they made, for some reason, turned on them like Cortana. Almost in the same fashion. They deemed that humans weren't worth saving and that they were inferior to them, and just started wiping them out inexplicably. Like, this movie is fucking incredible. Like, the visuals were kind of cool. Like, you know, you always like to see those big budget disaster visuals, and when they'd have the moon peeking over the earth, it looked cool. And they had awesome lines such as, "Watch out, the moon is rising," and then all of a sudden, like, boats would be flying overhead, fucking manatees falling onto the ground. Oh my God, it was so good. And there was like an advertisement for Alexis, because when there was these people, the scavengers that were hunting down the son, eventually the son meets up with Brian's wife and her new husband that cucked him or whatever, and they're on this high-speed chase, and they can't get away, right? These scavengers, they're so fast, and they want their oxygen tanks. And they're in a Lexus, and they keep zooming in on the Lexus and like throwing it, drifting around. And the dad goes, "Hold on, I'm putting this into warp speed." And they zoom in on the Lexus logo, and then him turning from economy mode to sport mode, and then it fucking turbocharges and goes wild. Then they're able to outrun him. This movie, man, is actual fucking genius. Like, I can't talk enough about it. Every single moment of this movie, when you think they've run out of stupid juice, finds another way to make it even dumber. And I couldn't appreciate it more. I loved it. I fucking loved it. I don't even know how you make a movie this dumb. On accident, too. Like, this isn't a self-aware movie. There is no self-awareness in this movie at all. There's a couple of jokes, but they're not like self-aware jokes. They're just like general, decently written jokes. But nothing is self-aware. It really takes itself super seriously, and I love that about it. The best kind of bad movie is one where the director really wanted to do something special but just didn't have the talent or the vision to realize it. And this is one of those cases. It is, in every possible department, the best way to make a bad movie. It is the worst and goofiest movie in all of the right ways. I just don't think you could make a movie this stupid on purpose. This movie was just an amazing experience. This was something truly special. If you like bad, shitty movies, this is the movie to go see. This is going to be 2022's best stupid movie, I think. It would be tough to beat this one. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about this because I've had a smile on my face ever since leaving the theater. There's still so much more I could talk about with this movie. I've barely even scratched the surface of lunacy with Moonfall. But it just, without you having seen the movie, it's not going to make as much sense. And sense is a word that is blasphemous to even use in the same sentence as Moonfall. That word never once crossed the mind of anyone who touched the script for this. The whole movie just felt like it was kids going and then trying to one-up each other. Nothing connects logically. Obviously, nothing here is mathematically, scientifically accurate, or even common sense accurate. Like, everything is wrong in the perfect ways. Like, for example, they're able to find everyone in the world just because. So, like, when they find Brian and Casey, they're in, like, this fucking random hotel somewhere, and somehow they just get found because. Or, like, the family is trekking through snow at the very end, and somehow they just make it to where they need to be without dying along the way and then get found. Like, everything, it just happens because fuck it. And I love that about it. It's so shameless in its horribleness. It was amazing. Just an incredible experience that I wanted to talk about a little bit. That's about it. See ya. Avatar The Last Airbender is one of the best shows ever made. Avatar The Last Airbender, the movie, is one of the worst movies ever made, and it's significantly worse than you remember it being. When this movie came out, everyone couldn't wait to drop their trousers and take a fat shit on it, just plant a steaming load, because the movie's terrible, so it deserves all the insults and all of the scathing reviews it received. But yesterday, Andrew and I decided to take a bath in the M. Night Shyamalan septic tank and watch this film. It's the first time he'd seen it, and second time for me. I first saw it in 2016 because I'm a bad movie enthusiast, and I wanted to taste the forbidden fruit of the Avatar movie. I'd always heard how horrible it was, and I didn't see it when it first came out in 2010, so I went back to just experience it, and it was miserable. But after watching it yesterday again, I swear to God, M. Night Shyamalan himself has gone back into the movie to change things around to make them even worse. The movie is progressively getting stinkier. I felt like I entered an alternate dimension where the Avatar The Last Airbender movie was somehow even worse than it was in 2010. I didn't remember half of these scenes being as atrocious as they were, and it hasn't been that long since I saw it. It was shocking, and I don't say this lightly, but I do believe this is one of the worst films ever made. Yes, it is worse than The Room when it comes to its dialogue. The dialogue in this film actually does sound like it was written by Tommy Wiseau if he had just hit 50 whippets in his car. It is baffling that this somehow ended up in a big budget film. And I think it's worse than any student film, any indie film. It's worse than fucking YouTube Halo 3 machinimas. It is unbelievably terrible in every possible department. It's extremely obvious nobody on the production side ever watched the Avatar show because they get the pronunciation of every single name wrong. They don't even call him the Avatar, they call him the Avatar. And everyone already knows this, but his name's not Aang in the movie, it's Ong. Sokka is Sokka. Everything is wrong. It's like they just read a Wikipedia article about the Avatar show and then tried to make a movie off it based on 3 sentences, like a plot synopsis. I can't even wrap my head around how it ended up like this. It tries to cover a lot from the Avatar show. It goes all the way up to the moon spirit, starting from literal bottom, starting from the very beginning. In an hour and 40 minutes, it goes from freeing Aang from the water tribe area all the way up to the moon spirit. And nothing makes sense.
Never have a normal life. That I could never have a family. They said it cannot work with the responsibilities of the Avatar.
Why can't the Avatar have a family?
I asked that.
I wanted to show quite a few scenes from this movie while I talked about it to make my points, but I just don't want to take the chance of any copyright violations or anything like that, because God already knows M. Night Shyamalan will get the fucking copyright benders out here and fuck me up. So I'm only going to show bits and pieces here, but here's just an example of a conversation in this movie. It's like 2 Skyrim NPCs malfunctioning anytime characters talk to each other. They don't have conversations. They just vomit out plot synopsis. Just random sentences from the Wikipedia article about like chapter 1 of Avatar The Last Airbender show. They don't actually talk to each other. And it's also filmed super weird, as you'll see here, where it's like a zoom in on their face, like as if it's under a microscope. Like I can see every pore on Ong's face here. Why is it such like a hyper close-up? As if I'm trying to like look at his DNA, like get down to an atomic level on him. It's shot so poorly. And they turn Katara into a goddamn trivia bot. All she does is say like general things about the world at random and ask the dumbest questions of all time. Like, this is a really small excerpt here as an example. When she's on screen, all she's gonna do is monotone ask a question to whoever's near her. It's like she's lobotomized, and all she can do is just ask silly questions. It's like she's Clippy from Microsoft XP who just keeps popping up with a question that you just don't even understand why it's being asked. I don't know why she's even in the movie, because she doesn't do anything. And I don't mean that as an exaggeration. She doesn't do anything besides ask questions sometimes or appear emotionless and say something general about what's going on. For example, there's a scene where Ong runs away, and her and Sokka hear him running away, so they both get up out of bed and they say, "Ong's running away." And Katara says, "He's running away, but he'll probably be back." And that's it. That's like the only thing she contributes to the film in every scene, is just saying things that everyone can already see, or asking questions that are either already being answered or have no place in the film in the first place. She doesn't even waterbend. There's only 3 scenes, I believe, where she's waterbending. 2 of them she fails. Well, 4 actually. The 4th scene, they forgot to use special effects, so she's like bending water, but they didn't put any special effects, so it's just like a calm river underneath her while Ong's looking impressed. So I imagine what was supposed to happen is she was supposed to be like lifting water up, but they just forgot to add that. So 4 scenes where she's supposed to be waterbending, one of them they didn't even add the effects, and then the other scene is she just gets hit by fire. So in the first 2 scenes, the waterbending fails. The last scene at the very end of the movie, where she's facing off against Zuko, she makes 2 water barriers, blocks 1 fireball, gets hit and knocked out. That's it. That's like the last time we see her. She doesn't do anything. I don't even know why she's here. She's just a fucking punching bag. And Sokka, I can't even imagine what M. Night Shyamalan told the actor to do, because when he's on screen, he just looks like he's always on the verge of tears. Like, he's always so serious, and he only has one look in this entire movie. He's like Derek fucking Zoolander. All he does is when he's on screen, he does this. Forever. He doesn't fight. He doesn't contribute anything. He doesn't even really talk. He doesn't make jokes like Sokka does in the show. He is nothing. He is a fucking android that is malfunctioning. Like, you would expect for a big budget movie like this, they would hire actors that actually wanted to be there, but I felt like all of them were just counting down till they could go home. None of them even tried, except for Zuko. Zuko is actually played by a really talented actor named Dave Patel. He's the only one that even gives a fuck in this film, but even he is dog shit here. But he's the only one that I could see was even trying to act. The other ones just sound like they're voice acting on Disney Junior.
How'd you get all the way out here?
I ran away from home. We got in a storm. We were forced under the water of the ocean.
Oh, I see.
Wow.
It wasn't very smart. I was just upset.
They're just literally explaining a plot summary of the show.
Yeah. With about the same delivery as me reading it in my head. The way the characters deliver their lines sounds about as enthusiastic as I do when I wait in line at the DMV and then have to fill out some shit. Like, they just seem so unbelievably bored to be there. And the movie, the most criminal thing about the movie is just how boring it is. Because like I said, they try and covered a lot from the Avatar show in a short amount of time. Thus, the majority of the movie comes out exactly like what you just saw, where they're just vomiting plot summary at each other with nothing else happening. Now, this film had a $150 million budget, so you would expect with that much money behind it, at least the fighting and the effects would look good. No. It's made in Adobe After Effects, it feels like, or Sony Vegas. Like, it's fucking trash. Look at this.
Oh my lord! Here it is!
Yeah. Whoa! Watch out!
You can't.
This is an actual scene in the final cut of the film. Fucking 10 earthbenders doing an interpretive dance in order to summon a small pebble and slowly push it towards their opponent. This is actually the scene out of Austin Powers when he's in the fucking steamroller and slowly about to run over that guy. And he just keeps screaming. That's the action in this entire movie. It's just people standing there waiting to slowly be hit by something, whether it's a small pebble from the earthbenders or a slight gust of wind from Ong. He doesn't use any cool airbending. Like, when Ong is fighting, he is summoning like actual puffs of wind. Like as much wind as I generate just blowing out. That's what you see on screen for the fights. It's so fucking bad. Also, firebenders can't generate flames on their own in this movie. They need a fire source nearby. So the whole film falls apart at the end, where they could just extinguish the flames around the city and the firebenders would be powerless. Because the waterbenders could just throw water on all the torches that light up their city, and the firebenders wouldn't be able to fight back. Because for some fucking reason, M. Night Shyamalan decided to completely change how the bending works for them. So they needed a nearby fire source. Thus, the whole thing could have been avoided by just... If they just said, oh, here's the Fire Nation coming in. Alright, extinguish those torches. Then they're worthless. The film is so unbelievably silly.
That's the M. Night Shyamalan twist.
Oh, it's just like Lord of the Rings.
It is. It's as memorable and good, too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't feel like writing a speech or a line, so you said go up there and make a noise. That right there is the only good piece of dialogue where one of the guys just goes up and instead of giving a speech just goes because they just decided not to write dialogue or anything inspirational. Just this random fucking dude goes up there and just makes a goofy noise. That's about as much effort as that went into the entire film. That's the perfect summary of this film. Just go up there and do whatever. I don't care. I got paid a lot of money to make an Avatar movie, but I don't feel like doing any amount of work to make it good. This movie is beyond bad. This movie is like getting a colonoscopy while wide awake for it. It is painful. M. Night Shyamalan's known for his twists in movies, and the biggest twist about the Avatar movie was that it was the worst fucking thing you'll ever see in your life. So if you like the show, get ready to get slapped in the face. It is so much worse than I remembered it being, and it hasn't been that long since I've seen it. It is so fucking bad, and I've only scratched the surface. I wanted to do a really in-depth dive on it, but I just don't really want to risk like a copyright violation or anything, so I'm going to refrain from doing that. I'm just giving you the general basis on why it's so bad and what makes it so awful. There is not a single moment in this entire film that is even remotely interesting or well done. There is no character besides Zuko that even tries a little bit. And even Zuko, who's by far the best performer in this film, does an awful job. Because I really feel like M. Night Shyamalan told everyone to do terrible. Like, go out there and give it your absolute worst take. Andrew made a good point. He said Shyamalan probably just took the 70th take of each scene so all the actors were exhausted. That's the only explanation for how it ended up so bad and how every single character in here is so poorly done. It makes no sense that this fucking film is in the state that it's in. And yeah, I just wanted to talk about it a little bit since I rewatched it yesterday. That's about it. See ya. Oh, it's the best goofy movie of all time. For the millionth time, it's Moonfall. There is no movie... I will just say there is no movie more entertaining than Moonfall. There is no movie that will keep you talking for as long as Moonfall will. There's nothing even close. He's the tier 1 good man. Should I watch Moonfall tonight? Yeah. I'd say don't watch it alone. Watch it with a friend. You guys will be spitballing theories back and forth on what the fuck you just watched. When's the watch party? Hey man, they still haven't updated watch parties. Like I said, I'll do it the second they actually make watch parties like an actually good feature on Twitch. But it is highly neglected. Have you heard of a movie called ZYZZYX Road that grossed $5? Yep. That's infamous. Everyone knows that. Oh, I guess maybe not. Chat doesn't know that. There's a movie called ZYZZYX Road. I forgot who's in it, but it had one big name. Oh yeah, Katherine Heigl. It came out 2006 and it made $30. $5 per theater that it was shown at. $1.2 million budget. I think it is, to this date, still the biggest flop in cinema history. I'm pretty sure. Wasn't the producer trying to make it flop? That just sounds like cope. That just sounds like a villain, like, it was all part of my plan. In fact, I wanted to lose over $1 million on this movie. You fools played right into my strategy. I think what actually happened is just nobody wanted to see it. It's a terrible name. ZYZZYX Road? It's a stupid name. The trailer's trash. Oh, here, I see. It's shown once a day at noon at Highland Park Theater in one auditorium rented by the producers for $1,000. The limited release was deliberate. Grillo was uninterested in releasing the film domestically until it underwent foreign distribution, but the film needed to fulfill the U.S. release obligation required by Screen Actors Guild for low-budget films. Budget's less than 2.5 mil. The strategy had the side effect of making it, at the time, the lowest-grossing film in history, earned $30 at the box office, from 6 patrons paying $5 each. And he even refunded 2 tickets because the makeup artist saw it with a friend. It's still not the biggest financial loss. It is the lowest opening box office. I don't think there's any box office performance lower than $30. Not for a budget over $1 million. But yeah, if we're talking relative flops, it's not the biggest by far. Worst $5 they ever spent. Disagreed. All 6 of these people are now part of history. Remember that Kevin Spacey movie that only made $600 in its opening weekend, Billionaire Boys Club? True. Here, let's just look up the biggest flops. Waterworld's notorious. Here, let's do the estimated loss. Wait, estimated loss for one of these movies was $88. The production budget was $46 and it made $8. So how did they lose 88? They never even saw 88. Oh, millions! Oh my god, millions. I'm I thought this was just dealing with low-budget films. I should have looked up 47 Ronins here. That's the Keanu Reeves movie. Oh, Jesus Christ. I was like, oh, so they're counting indie movies. Never heard of the Baron of Munchausen, whatever that is. Oh, Mars Needs Moms. I remember this. I never saw it, but I remember the trailers. Mars Needs Moms.
Eat that. You're not gonna make me eat it now, are you? There's no good thing to say.
This looks great.
I'm sorry. Mom? Let her go!
I need to watch this. I still need to watch Norm of the North as well.
I'm in a spaceship. This is so cool!
Use the Polar Express technology? Okay.
I'm just messing with you. Welcome to Mars. My name is Gribble. This is Two Cats. What's your handle?
Milo.
How about I call you my bro? Check it.
Wow.
What is going on?
Damn, this is killing it. That's pretty hype. I've heard of Tomorrowland. I saw this movie in theater opening day. I went to a church. There was a church near my old apartment that would play movies. They'd have like one movie per auditorium. They had like 4 auditoriums, but you could see the movie for like $3. So I saw this opening day with Andrew, and this is still his most hated movie of all time, I believe. He was so offended at how trash this movie was. I'd never seen him so upset. I even think he went home and made a whole video about it on his channel. Ooh, Turning Red flopped. Twitter was in a frenzy about this movie. $175 million budget and only a $20 million box office? Holy shit. Whoa, that can't be right. What? No. Oh, it was straight to Disney Plus. Oh. Okay. That makes a little bit more sense. This is probably what scared them off of doing more straight to streaming videos or movies. Like theatrical release plus streaming. This right here probably scared them. Good lord. This looks awful. Let me see. This is actually a great movie. Whoa! That's Matt Damon? No. Take me. Yeah. This looks cool. I'm just watching an AMV. Damn, why did this flop? That actually looks good. I'd probably like that now. In the year 3028. Holy Jesus Christ. A masterpiece that destroyed Fox Animation Studios. Rough. This is a new video too. He also must have been going through the biggest flops of all time and caught Titan AE caught his attention. Mulan, yeah, that deserved the flop. This movie was so bad. $200 million budget with $70 million box office. That sounds beautiful. That's great news. This movie was terrible. Man, Disney's got some of the most prolific flops on here. Pluto Nash! Let's go! I used to like this movie as a kid. Ah! A $100 million budget and a modest $7 million box office. Wow. Man, we don't have any Pluto Nash fans out here?
Eddie Murphy.
Oh, this is so early 2000s.
Pluto Nash, it is a pleasure to meet me.
The battle between Pretty Evil.
Let's get it right this time.
And Pretty
Pluto Nash was better than John Carter.
Look at me.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, we were thinking a little more. You married twins, huh?
No, they're not twins. I met the perfect woman and then I had a clone.
Which one's which?
Damn, I don't remember this movie at all.
The Adventures of Pluto Nash.
Whoa! Why don't you take these Hillarys? We appreciate you helping us out.
I can't believe that movie flopped. That's a pretty big flop too. 100 mil to 7 mil. Yuck. Final Fantasy. What? What is this? The Spirits Within. You're telling me they made a $137 million Final Fantasy movie and I'd never heard of it? What the fuck? No, I never even heard of this.
Always the same.
So is it just an original story? Must be. I don't recognize any of this. Yeah.
Don't see how any living thing could survive out here.
Yeah.
Came to uncover an ancient truth.
I feel like Final Fantasy's strong point isn't going to be like a self-contained original movie for Columbia Pictures. So I imagine that probably just wasn't very good. Oh, yucky. That's a rough one for DC. Wonder Woman 1984. Yeah. That didn't pop off. That movie was awful. A Wrinkle in Time. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. This is that fucking movie where they say the name Charles Wallace 10,000 times. I forgot all about this one. Oh, this was miserable. I know it's for kids, but Christ, it was bad. Jesus. I bet Artemis Fowl is going to be on here pretty soon. Terminator, Dark Fate. Not surprising. Matrix Resurrections, yep. Fucking yep. Not as big of a flop as I would have expected, but wow. What a remarkable disservice to the entire fucking franchise. Sucked ass. It was so dog anus. Like, I couldn't believe it. I don't know how you fuck it up this bad. There wasn't a single thing in this movie that worked. It was like it was directed to be awful, like on purpose. And I saw that cope from a lot of people like, well, actually, the Wachowskis have outdone themselves yet again because they meant for this movie to be terrible. And thus, they succeeded and created a masterpiece. It's like, well, you made an awful movie on purpose. You fucking wasted my time then. Like, maliciously. Like in the very first couple of scenes, they do this thing where it's like really meta, where they're talking to Warner Bros. Or like, Warner Bros. Needs more bullet time. They need more action. They need more green binary. We need action bullet time because we just gotta pump it out. Don't care if it's good, just pump it out. Lickety split. And it's supposed to be like really meta. And that's exactly what they did. They just made nothing but awful bullet time, horrible storytelling, no message, and everything falling to shit. And some people acted like it was so genius for them to like include that scene where they're openly mocking how little effort they put into it. No, this one hurts. Moonfall flopped. We may never get a sequel. Oh, casual $100 million loss. Oh, God, why is there no justice in the world? This should have been on the top 50 highest grossing films of all time. Worst comes to worst, I'll make a petition. Those usually work. We need a sequel. They set themselves up for an entire Moonfall universe. Like, we have to realize that potential. We can't just let this masterpiece slip away. Is Moonfall your Morbius? I mean, that doesn't even encapsulate my feelings. Moonfall is the perfect bad movie. Every possible thing that could be horrible about a movie is present in Moonfall, but done it takes a savant to do what Roland Emmerich did here. He took everything that makes a movie good and shit on it, but with like the most beautiful shit I've ever seen. It's like 2.5 hours and it feels like 20 minutes. You go on like the most amazing ride through delusion. I just don't know how to explain it. It's such a beautifully awful movie. Oh, I used to love this movie. You're telling me Stealth flopped? Wait, this movie was so cool. I watched this shit like 8 times. And there's that scene when Jessica Biel's like underneath a waterfall in a bikini, and I was still pretty young at the time. I was like, whoa, them honkers though. Like this movie's about like a secret, super special jet plane that gains sentience. And I remember there's a scene where the main character, Josh Lucas, he's like looking at I forgot what they call it. What's his name in this movie? Eddie. He's looking at Eddie out the window and he's like, Eddie, what are you listening to over there? And he's playing like really good music, like rock music. And he's like, I'm listening to my favorite song. He's like, how many songs did you download? And he says, all of them. And then he blasts off listening to a song that's called Bulletproof Skin by a band called Institute, which isn't really a big band or song. It was so cool. I loved it when I was young.
Return to formation.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an order.
Like, that's cool. Like, even now I'm like, damn, it's kind of hype. Just sentient stealth bomber blowing up terrorists listening to old butt rock. That's Incubus right now that's playing, I recognize that. Oh, they even have a Bulletproof Skin AMV for stealth. Let's go. I don't know this one. We're getting into some obscure ones. Treasure Planet, this is actually tragic. I still think this is probably one of the best animated kids movies Disney's ever done. Like, it's so good. This one is a very sad story. It should have been one of their biggest grossing ever. Why did it do bad? You talking about Treasure Planet? There's actually a really great video on why Treasure Planet failed and why it shouldn't have. Failed because audiences didn't want 2D movies at that point. I don't remember all the factors that went into it. I really don't know. But this movie is an absolute masterpiece. Oh, this is the newest Fantastic Four. I never saw this, but I heard it was a beautiful stinker. Is this like a fun bad movie or just really not worth watching at all? The entire chat is just saying it's boring and just bad. 47 Ronin's sad because it's Keanu Reeves in this movie, from what I understand, was actually good. But I still haven't seen it. It's a cool concept. Like, I think it's a really interesting idea for a movie. I just haven't seen it myself yet. Chaos. Oh! Tiana was watching this and she said she fucking hated it. Yeah, this movie, the Tom Holland one, what a beautiful flop. $100 million budget, $27 million box office. I think it was only streaming. But yeah, this is that movie where men have like stink on them. And there's like no women on their planet. So then there's like a woman that gets introduced to the planet and she has no stink or something. Like, what is it? I forgot. Like, they can hear thoughts, like their thoughts surround them. Men have transparent thoughts. It's their thoughts. Horrible way to explain it. Yeah, I mean, I didn't really get it. I didn't watch all of it, neither did she. Turned it off, it was just bad. It was just really bad. Monkey Bone's a good movie, it's Brendan Fraser, it shouldn't have flopped. Tragic. Wow, that's a colossal flop. $75 million budget with a $7 million box office in 2002. Or 2001. That's prime movie-going era. I know Monkey Bone's credited a lot for Brendan Fraser's downfall in Hollywood, but I just don't agree. This was a good movie. Did I see this movie? Does anyone know? Did I make a moist meter on this? I don't know if I saw this. I have to look this up. I genuinely don't know if I saw this, but I feel like it's something I absolutely would have seen. Oh, that is such a dangerous search. Holy fuck, I did not think that through. I have so many porn deepfakes. Oh my god, that was close. I'll do Xander Cage. Wow. Yikes. We're fine, though. No. It looks like I never saw this movie. This is kind of cool. It's a 2002 action thriller directed by that name, under the pseudonym of Chaos. Oh, I need to watch it. A voice crack. I need to watch a trailer.
A former FBI agent named Jeremiah X.
Sworn enemy.
Antonio Banderas at his best.
This woman's single.
Can you believe this is what trailers used to look like? This was normal.
I need you to find her.
Of course you do.
Wow. Look how far we've come. We're evolving.
Tell him why you look so sad.
and told her it's because you just got beat up by a girl.
This kind of just looks boring bad, but maybe I'll watch it at some point. The Mummy. Yeah, this movie was terrible. This is the Tom Cruise movie. I wanted it to be good. It stood no chance of being good. I knew this was dead on arrival from the second they accidentally released the trailer with no music or sound effects, and it's just Tom Cruise going, "Ah!" in a plane. They did that. I forget that 2017's 5 years ago, so a lot of people just don't remember. Yeah. The first trailer that came out for this movie, they forgot to put all of the sound effects. So it's just Tom Cruise in a plane going, "Ah!"
What the hell?
Pretty hype. When did he start screaming? Oh, there we go.
No.
This is what trailers could be, should be, even. Man, Tom Cruise really puts it all on the line for this one. And this was the first little bit of The Mummy we saw. So you could see why my expectations were so high going into it. I saw this in theaters with Andrew. This is another really enjoyable bad movie. I can't believe it made $150 million in the box office. I think they're lying. I genuinely, there's no part of me, there's no universe, like there's not a single dimension where this movie made more than $50. Again, it was just me and Andrew in the theater watching this, and no one has ever talked about it since. It is a really fun bad movie. I saw this in theaters when I was a kid. Hated it. Absolutely hated it. Glad to see it flop. This was terrible. This had Tim Allen doing his absolute best to try and stay awake on screen and failing. Even when I was a kid, I was like, man, this guy sucks. I liked Home Improvement. I loved Tim the Toolman Taylor, but I was like, damn, this guy does not want to be here. It's bad. It's really bad. Let's do like any random zoom scene. That's not gonna work anymore. We'll do zoom movie scene.
Alright. Just like riding a bike.
The story is he hated being a hero or some shit. I don't remember why his brother didn't age, but Tim Allen's like 80.
Actually, it's Zoom. Zoom looks good.
Nice suit, lizard boy.
Welcome back, Zoom.
Let's play ball.
Goddamn. Yeah, movie's awful. Glad to see it flopped. Wow. Yeah, I just saw the Winnie the Pooh horror movie, Blood and Honey, and it is without exaggeration one of the stinkiest horror films I've ever had the pleasure of watching, and undoubtedly in the top 10 worst films I've ever seen in theaters, which is truly an honor, because I've seen all kinds of worthless, absolute trash. Now, I'm sure you all know Winnie the Pooh's public domain now, which is why this film was able to be made in the first place. This isn't like an official Winnie the Pooh production. It's not canon. This isn't going to be part of the established Winnie the Pooh lore. The property went to the public domain Thunderdome, meaning anybody could use and abuse it freely. So a lot of people tried to latch on to the tit and suckle some milk out of the power of the IP. And this led to this production here. It was a very cheap one that was haphazardly thrown together, clearly trying to capitalize off the wackiness of its concept. What if Winnie the Pooh killed people? And that's about it. That's as far as the creativity goes. And it's very clear they rushed the fuck out of this because nothing works. This is the laziest, most unapologetic cash grab I've ever seen in my life. But it doesn't even have the decency to be self-aware. It is bad at everything it tries to do, and it doesn't even do it with like a smile on its face. Of course I knew going into this it was going to be bad. Anyone with eyes could see that this would be dog shit. I mean, just look at the costume. They didn't even bother putting any effort into Winnie the Pooh or Piglet. They just found the cheapest masks available at Party City, and then just had two guys wearing the masks. That's it. They also have human hands. And also a lot of times the mask kind of rides up a little bit so you can just see like a normal human actor underneath the mask. It's just a disaster. This is one of the few films where I actually took notes during it because I felt like I was so insulted and I couldn't believe what I was watching. So I jotted down a few notes during this, also because it was basically just me and Aaron in this movie theater watching it together, fucking stunned by what we were witnessing. It is truly a catastrophe on every level, but I will openly say it was fun bad. It was. I'm happy to report it wasn't boring bad. Its sheer incompetence and its inability to do anything right while not being self-aware made it a fun, enjoyably shit film. So I'd like to walk you through a lot of what happens here. Clearly we're going to get in spoiler territory, so fair warning, though I don't know why you'd give a fuck about spoilers for this kind of movie. It's not exactly heavy on the narrative at all. So let's go ahead and dive in. Just to give you a quick example of how much they cared about doing this cheaply, they don't have Winnie or Piglet talk. They clearly wanted to save money on the budget by not having additional voice actors try and impersonate Winnie or Piglet, so they came up with this. During a harsh winter, Winnie the Pooh hatched this genius idea to eat Eeyore in order to save the rest of them. So they sacrifice Eeyore for the greater good, they eat him, and then take a vow of silence because they were so traumatized by what they had done to their friend. So they never speak. So that saved them some money. The story is as follows. Christopher Robin meets Winnie and the gang in the 100-acre wood. They're friends for a while, but Christopher Robin goes off to college, and during that time, the group goes fucking hog wild. They go insano style. Their minds break. They turn to madness, and they become these ferocious killing machines for some reason, because they felt abandoned by Christopher Robin. But Christopher Robin is now engaged, and he wants to bring his fiancée into everything that was important in his life, which includes Winnie and the gang. So they visit the 100-acre wood looking for them, and his fiancée doesn't believe him. But then we get like Darman level acting throughout the entire film, but immediately it starts to shine because his wife is like, "You are so successful because you are creative. And even if these are imaginary friends, that business that you have made and you being as creative as you have been has led to you being one of the best people in the world, Christopher Robin. But I'm not sure if they're real." And Christopher's like, "But no, fiancé, these are real." And then sure enough, they eventually stumble upon the cabin, and then Piglet grabs a chain and strangles his wife till she dies. And then Christopher Robin gets cornered by Pooh and Piglet, and he drops what I believe to be one of the most iconic lines in horror movies now. He says, "Pooh, you've got to help me. Something's wrong with Piglet. He killed my wife." and then that's when it sinks in on Christopher Robin that they're all, off their gourd. So Pooh and Piglet start closing in on Christopher Robin as he's yelling and screaming. And he's saying, "We were friends, but we were friends. We were friends. What happened to us being friends?" And then they kidnap him, and that's the intro. A fierce and fiery start to this one. And I'd like to mention that the two actors in the Winnie and Piglet costumes, I wouldn't be surprised to learn that they're like 80 years old, because they move around so fucking slow. Especially Pooh Bear. Pooh Bear fee-fi-fo-fums around like he's carrying 1,000 pounds on each ankle. I thought for a second every time they moved, they slowed down the footage by like half. Like they moved at 0.5 speed. It really looks like they're riddled with arthritis. Every movement they make is extremely stiff. When they kill somebody, it's almost like animatronic to a certain degree. Like, it's so jarring. I would have expected them to be a little more limber since they're supposed to be like these crazy, agile, unstoppable killing machines. But my god, they are painfully slow and stiff. It's weird. But anyway, moving on. So that's the intro done. And then we get to our main characters. And I couldn't even tell you any of their names because it just genuinely wasn't important. They are actual just meat balloons for Winnie and Piglet to pop. So it's a group of girls that go to this cabin in the 100-acre wood for a vacation. And this is a no technology vacation. They want to go off the grid, like in fucking witness protection, basically. So they turn their phones off and everything is when they get to the cabin. But unfortunately, one of their friends was a little late, so when she was calling them to ask for directions, they didn't answer. So she pulled over outside, like next to the cabin a little far down the road, and was trying to get them to answer. And as she's calling, Pooh Bear spots her. And this is very bad because Pooh Bear's got a taste for blood, and he's gluttonous. So Pooh Bear starts chasing her down like this, A girl's screaming. She eventually makes it to some kind of like warehouse and takes cover underneath a wood chipper. You can see where this is going. As she's hiding, Pooh happens to find her, and I shit you not, I swear this is going to sound like I'm making up, but I'm not. Pooh grabs her and then rips her shirt off, and then her tits are flopping all over the place for a minute, and Pooh's like moving her around so her tits kind of jiggle. And then he starts slamming her head against the wood chipper till she dies, and then he puts her in the wood chipper to make a blood sundae out of. So it's shooting all of her blood and guts out of the wood chipper, and that's it. I don't understand what the point was in Pooh Bear stripping her nude, basically. Well, I guess not fully nude, making her topless. I don't really get it. I thought this was going to be like some kind of narrative plot point where like he sees her tits and his eyes just go like, awooga, or something to indicate that he's like a pervert, like truly just the most, reprehensible menace of all time. But it played no role in anything because Pooh doesn't talk, he has no emotion, he has no real character, he just kills. So what the fuck was a point in just like having her tits all over the place for like 20 seconds? And that's another thing. All of these kills, the directors confused tension with just general time and dead silence and dead space. So when she's hiding, it is painfully long of her just sitting there and Pooh's feet by the door. It'll go on for like 45 seconds of nothing happening. It's not building tension, it's just overstaying its welcome, and it's just dead space. It's fucking worthless. And that's for every single kill. The director really just thought like holding a still frame of something in the background is building tension, and it's just not. It was just really mind-numbingly boring, and it really lasted a long time. Like in the intro, when Christopher Robin was saying, but we were friends, and Piglet and Pooh were coming in, that scene was probably about 2 minutes of them standing there, slowly getting closer, as Christopher Robin repeated the same 5 lines over and over again, like it was an NPC malfunctioning in a video game. It was painful how long those scenes would drag. But anyway, moving on, so that girl got thrown in the wood chipper. Back at the cabin, one of the girls is an Instagram model, so she's in her downtime playing music in a hot tub, and while Pooh Bear is dispensing of like this corpse, this skeleton of one of their victims, he hears the music, so he looks around, and then he sees the hot tub. So as she's taking Instagram pictures, you can see Pooh in the background, and the girl notices that too, and she's like, oh, what the fuck is this? That's a weird looking creature back there. So then she turns around, literally knows Pooh is there, and knows that it's some kind of fucked up abomination back there, and she's like, I know you're there, but you're not gonna ruin my vacation, or what was the line? You're not gonna ruin my hot tub, or something? I don't know, it was a terrible line, but she recognizes that there is a complete stranger in these fucking woods, this giant fucking animal, recognizes that, and then just says, you're not gonna ruin my time, so she gets back in the hot tub, where she gets chloroformed by Piglet and Pooh Bear. So then they fucking hog tire on the front porch and then steal one of their cars, and Piglet puts his foot on her while Pooh Bear slowly drives over her skull, and then you get a close-up of her skull slowly exploding so her eye pops out at the camera, and then blood starts squirting, and they're using the worst CGI of all time for the blood squirting, and eventually her head just pops and blows up. The genre that this movie's in is torture porn, pretty much. Like, that is basically all it is. It's just Winnie and Piglet torturing and killing people. I even forgot to mention that Christopher Robin is being tortured by Pooh. He was hitting him with Eeyore's tail, just like fucking flogging him with it. And this is what I'm talking about with a lot of things they didn't even bother to follow through on. There's a moment where Christopher Robin's like, I know you're still good in there, Pooh. This isn't you. You killed my wife, but I know you're still good in there. And then Pooh has this moment where he like cries, and then he breaks some boxes, and then he looks at himself in the mirror, and then he goes back to hitting him with Eeyore's tail, and it's never explored again. Like, ever, at all. Like, there's just this brief moment of vulnerability, but then he goes right back to just being this two-dimensional killing machine. So now, back to the cabin, they blow up that girl's head with the car. It turns out all of the other girls, for some reason, spread out across the land, so 2 of them are by, like, a pond, talking. Another 2 of them are literally like doing nothing, just standing around doing nothing, but they hear their friend scream and they all run back to the cabin. They see her corpse, they freak out, they go inside, and Pooh is written "Get out" in blood on the window. So now they recognize they're being hunted, they're under attack, and they're trying to find things to defend themselves with. And then the main girl remembers that she brought a gun with her on this vacation. Her backstory is she had a stalker, so she's been a little scared of things, so she has a gun. And when she mentioned that, both Aaron and I thought it was going to be like a Glock or something, like a normal gun, you know, like a normal kind of gun that you see in movies. Well, it turns out the gun she brought is a fucking revolver. But not just any revolver. It's like a goddamn 6-shooter straight out of Overwatch. Like, she was fucking McCree. She had this giant goddamn revolver. She came out here with that big iron on her hip. So she pulls out this massive revolver, a fucking 50 caliber hand cannon, and they're like, okay, now we can defend ourselves. But then they still split up. And so the girl with the revolver and her friend, they get into like a sniper's perch, and Pooh is just standing in the middle, like looking down, looking all confused, as they have like a clear shot on him, but they're not taking it for some reason. Then Pooh walks into the kitchen. So then we go to the other group of 2 girls that for some reason split off near the pool, and Piglet's over there, and they freak out. One of the girls falls in the pool, the other one, Piglet pushes, and she gets knocked unconscious. And then Piglet, fuck, it is so hard to describe how awful this is. Piglet is after the girl in the pool, and he has a chain and a sledgehammer, and he starts like slapping the chain against the pool water, trying to get her, and the girl's like moving backwards, like slowly in the pool as Piglet's hitting the water, and this goes on for like 2 minutes. It's terrible. And then eventually he's like, this isn't working, I'm gonna get the sledgehammer. And while he's getting the sledgehammer, the girl, instead of like getting out of the pool, like a normal logical decision, like getting out of the pool and running away while he's getting the sledgehammer, she instead like gets closer to him in the pool. And I thought this was gonna be like a fight back moment where she's gonna like grab the chain and yank him in and try and kill him. But no, she just gets closer to him as he gets the sledgehammer. Then he gets the sledgehammer and she starts backing up again in the pool, like slowly swimming her way back. And then Piglet hits her with the sledgehammer and kills her. And then the girl that got knocked out from the push, they take and chain up back at their camp, and Winnie the Pooh slaps her after eating some honey. So he's eating some honey, the girl wakes up, he notices she wakes up, and he slaps her, and he slaps her again, and then he slaps her again, and then he slaps her again, and then he slaps her again. It goes on for like a fucking minute. That's what I'm talking about. All of these scenes last for so long, and it's so unnecessary. It does nothing. It doesn't make it more tense. It doesn't make it more brutal. It just makes it really fucking weird and uncomfortable. Anyway, so that's another one of the vacationing girls dead. Don't even know her name. None of these characters had any level of depth to them whatsoever. The other 2 girls that have the revolver and her friend, they try and, you know, track down where her friend got taken. They eventually track it back to Winnie the Pooh and Piglet's hideout, and there's now another girl that's been captured and she's screaming, so they free her, and she's been mauled by Piglet, so her face is all fucked up and it makes her mad. Then they free Christopher Robin as well at some point, who's still alive, just being tortured. So now they have Christopher Robin freed and this completely random girl that also happened to get tortured by Winnie the Pooh and Piglet. And the girl whose face is all messed up from Piglet grabs the gun and says, I'm gonna make that bastard pay for this. So then she shoots a shot in order to lure Piglet out, and he comes out from a fucking trailer, and he's got his chain, and they're circling around a fire, and what I expect they thought would be a cool action moment, like a cool action shot. So they're circling this fire. He's got a chain, she's got a gun, and she's ready to go fucking John Wick on him. But then she tries to shoot him, and it's out of bullets. It turns out the girl only packed a single bullet in that revolver, which leads me to believe that her plan for the vacation was to play fucking Russian roulette with her friends. Why would she only load a single bullet into the revolver? And that's not even the stupidest part about that scene, because they freed that girl, they freed Christopher Robin, Piglet and Pooh had no idea that was going on. I think they both went to sleep for some reason. They could have all left. But when the girl took the revolver and said, I want to make Piglet pay, the other 2 girls, well, 3 because they had freed her friend, the other 3 girls just decided to watch. So they get in the closest proximity they can to this showdown, which happens to be a single keg, like an actual beer keg they hide behind, and they're watching it, like peeking over the side while this complete random woman has their gun and is about to shoot Piglet. They all just came over to watch. For no reason. They could have just left. They could have left and they would have survived. They would have been fine. But they decided to be spectators here. And it's like an episode of Scooby-Doo. Like they couldn't help it. They're just peeking over to watch it go down. So once it's clear that the girl's out of ammo, Winnie the Pooh comes up behind her, knocks her down, pours honey on her face, and Piglet eats her face off. And that's when Pooh notices that the 3 other girls happen to be behind that keg of beer watching. So then he's like coming at him like this. And 2 of the girls run away, but the other one hides and grabs a sledgehammer and ambushes Piglet. and she hits Piglet twice in order to get revenge for the friend that she killed. The other two girls are running through the forest, which is, I believe, miles away. Like, they ran miles, like, in a matter of seconds, and Pooh's following them like a goddamn robot. But after Piglet gets hit twice, he screams, and Pooh hears this miles away, and somehow Pooh instantly teleports back to the camp, and right after that girl delivers the killing blow on Piglet, Winnie the Pooh kills her by stabbing a machete through her throat and hanging her up on a post. Every character in this movie has super speed or like Dragon Ball Z level instant transmission because they're teleporting all over this place. They'll teleport from the cabin to the Pooh hideout, to the woods, back to the cabin, all in a matter of actual seconds. It's fucking crazy. But anyway, now we're down to our last two survivors. Piglet's dead. Pooh's very upset about all of this. Sorry, just checking my notes, making sure I didn't miss anything. I'm skipping over some other shit. Like, it's so bafflingly fucking terrible. But anyway, the next important plot point is the two girls make it to a road, and there's a pickup truck of some goofy dudes in there. One of them comes out looking like the fucking crypt keeper, and they're like, what's wrong with you girls? You're not making any sense. What do you mean you're scared? Who are you scared of? And then Pooh's on the road, and they're like, you scared of this joker, this clown? Alright, we'll get in the car, we'll take care of this. And they march up to him with baseball bats, beer bottles, and a crowbar. And they're like, hey, bub, what did you do to scare these girls? You're not a nice guy, are you? So then they start beating up Pooh Bear, and he's just tanking all of the shots. And then I wrote down how he kills them because it's so wild. So after it becomes clear that what they're doing is ineffective, Pooh slaps the entire side of someone's face off. Like, literally turns him into Harvey Dent, Two-Face, slaps the side of the guy's face off, which kills him, and then he karate chops another guy's arm off, and then curb stomps him. Then he karate slices another guy's throat open, killing him, and then the last guy, he summons a swarm of bees to kill. So Pooh Bear can control bees in this universe, I guess, and he uses that to kill that guy who runs away. Then the girls freak out, but they have a car now, and they try and get away in the car, but Pooh's latched onto the back, and then they brake real hard. Pooh flies off, but for some reason they broke so hard that their heads hit the dash and they pass out. So then one of the friends gets grabbed by Pooh, and then he rips her head off and then throws it on the windshield. And then our protagonist turns on the windshield wipers because the blood was gross, I guess, which is so stupid, so fucking dumb, because I guess she was still going to try and get away and couldn't see with their friend's head in the windshield. But she wasn't able to clean it off fast enough and start the car, so Pooh grabs her, and he's about to kill her, but then Christopher Robin comes speeding in another vehicle and hits Pooh, which stuns him, but it doesn't kill him, so then Pooh grabs that girl one more time, slits her throat in front of Christopher Robin, and then says the only line that Pooh and Piglet have, and he says, "You left us." And then, after, kills the girl, slits her throat, and then just starts stabbing her a million times as Christopher Robin cries and runs away. Roll credits. I just summed up the whole movie for you. That is the whole movie. I am convinced that they were padding for time with all of those very long, drawn-out sections of, like, nothing happening. I think that was in order to fill time, in order to make, like, the bare minimum for a feature-length film, because this movie is fucking short. Like, way shorter than I would have ever expected. It's over in, like, a single blink of the eye. And everything that happens is so half-baked and terrible. All of it looks terrible. None of what they even attempted to do lands in even the singlest, slightest capacity. I thought this would be self-aware goofiness. It's not self-aware. It is goofy, but for all the wrong reasons, which almost makes it better. Like I said, it is enjoyably bad. It is fun bad. It's no Moonfall, unfortunately, but I did enjoy my time watching it. It was something special. Like, oh bother, I tell you, this one was a super stinker, and I just had to come home and vent about it and talk about it because holy shit. It has a 5% on Rotten Tomatoes, which I actually agree with. It's very rare I agree with Rotten Tomatoes scores. That one's right on the money. 5% sounds about right. The audience score of 51%, though, I can't understand because it is enjoyably shit. Like, it is a fun, bad movie. It's something wild. That's about it. So, yeah. Madam Web is a movie a lot of people wrote off pretty quickly. The trailers are abominable. Let's not, beat around the bush here. And the press tour that Dakota Johnson went on, who was the lead for this film, was a real head scratcher because she just openly seemed to despise the film with the way she talked about it. One of her interviews, she's like, yeah, I don't even know if the movie's good. And spoiler alert, turns out it wasn't. So maybe she really can see the future because she knew this one was a super stinker. This movie is a straight up clunker. And this film was produced by some of the best in the business, Matt Sazama and Burke Sharpless. Those might not be household names, but I promise you're familiar with their work. Their resume is nothing but heaters. Dracula Untold, Last Witch Hunter, Gods of Egypt, Power Rangers, Morbius, and Madam Web. They are, without any exaggeration, undoubtedly the Kobe Bryant and Shaq of producing dog shit movies. They only write horrible garbage, and somehow they keep getting worse. Now, I wouldn't say this film is worse than Morbius, but I would say it's just as bad. It's not better, it is just exactly the same as Morbius in terms of how dog shitty it is. So it's really impressive that throughout this decade of Matt Sazama and Burke Sharpless working in Hollywood, they have somehow found a way to start awful and find new ways of getting worse at it, and then accidentally making the Power Rangers movie that was at least pretty decent. I didn't hate that one. But everything else, everyone hates for the most part. But anyway, with that out of the way, let's talk about Madam Web here. So, I'm not clairvoyant, but I think everyone's going to dislike this one because there's almost nothing to like about it. The actors and actresses in here, they really don't seem to try very hard at all, save for a couple of scenes, which I think probably were some of the first scenes that were shot when the script was different. As I understand it, this script went through a lot of changes from when Dakota signed on to what eventually got puked out onto the big screen here. So I think some of the good scenes where like the performances are actually giving a shit about what's going on were probably from the original shoots before everything got cattywampus and ruined somewhere along this messy journey. But for the most part, you're not even really watching superheroes versus supervillains. You're watching zombies kind of just speak at each other occasionally. It's like you're watching performances from people that are sleepwalking through their lines. There's really no true effort. And it's clear from the very beginning of this film. I wrote notes in the beginning because I couldn't believe what I was watching, and then at some point I got hypnotized and stopped writing notes, and then at the very end, after everything had happened, the dust started to settle as it was like wrapping itself up in the last 2 minutes, I just instantly fell asleep. Like, I didn't even feel myself getting tired. My eyes just closed and I was out for like 3 minutes until Aaron, who went with me, was like, Charlie, you're sleeping. I was like, oh my god. I didn't even know. Like, my body shut down from like how confused I was that this movie even got made in the state that it's in. But anyway, very opening. This is in the trailer, that meme. He was with my mother when she was studying spiders right before she died or whatever. That line's not in there just like that, but it is in there in the same essence, just broken up. So from the very beginning, that bad guy Ezekiel's line is, I agreed to be your bodyguard because I thought you were close to finding the spider that can give us the superpowers if we can use its abilities. And I think I was paraphrasing because that was a few lines. She interrupted him at some point. But his first line is, I agreed to be your bodyguard because you told me you were close to finding the spider that's going to give us superpowers or something to that effect. And she's like, it's a very elusive spider because it's so powerful and gives all of these superpowers. Like, there's no dialogue in this movie that would ever be something a single human being would say to another in the real world. It is baffling that anyone signed off on it. Because these aren't characters. They're just plot point vessels and nothing else. No character here has any personality whatsoever, especially not the 3 spider women that Madam Web is protecting. They don't get any fleshing out whatsoever. They're basically just 3 characters that need to be saved just because, and that's it. There's no real reason for it. And Madam Web is a very interesting case study here because she's a paramedic. Thus, her whole career is saving people, yet when it comes to saving these 3 spider women, she tries her best to just dump them off onto their parents, which is basically just a death sentence because they're being hunted by evil spider guy. So, like, I don't know what she thought would happen there, like the parents just hit spider guy with a frying pan to defeat him or something, but she does not want any part of this responsibility at all, even though her career is fucking saving people. She wants nothing to do with actually saving them and reluctantly does so. But I'm jumping all around now, too. I'm so scatterbrained with how bafflingly bad this movie was. So anyway, like, even from the very beginning, it was clear that this dialogue was going to be terrible. But it somehow finds a way to get even worse than you'd ever expect it to be. But anyway, so after the mother finds the spider, she takes it to the camp and Ezekiel betrays her. He shoots 2 of the people. The mom goes, "Oh, jeepers, creepers, zoinks. What are you doing?" And she says, "I don't understand why." And then goes on to explain that this spider, if we can use its properties, can help people. And that's when Ezekiel, the main bad guy, gets his only amount of, even an iota of an attempt to give him a background story or any motivation or whatever at all. He says, "Not interested in helping people because no one helped me and my family when we were starving." And then he shoots her. That's all we ever get about him as a character. After that, he becomes bent on just killing the 3 spider women because he can't stop having nightmares about them killing him as like a prophecy that's going to happen in the future. We get nothing else about that guy at all. He is actually just cartoonishly evil beyond that. Nothing else. And he also fucking sucks at being a supervillain because he has like these superhuman abilities, but all he does is walk menacingly and crawl on the walls sometimes, and that's it. He at no point ever really seemed like a threat at all. Even for a second. There wasn't a single scene where I was like, "Oh shit, he's here. This is gonna be a tough one." Also, he can like poison people by like holding onto them, like gripping them tight. But other than his cheese touch and like the ability to crawl on walls, he doesn't really do much else as a supervillain, except whine. But anyway, I actually pretty much summed up the entire narrative here. The only thing I left out is how Cassie was born. So after the mother gets shot, it turns out she was pregnant, and the locals that were using the spider's venom for superpowers picked up the mother and then delivered the baby for her after letting a spider bite her, which of course gave Cassie powers, which didn't awaken until that accident that is now in the iconic viral clip that's gone around where, as a paramedic, she tries to save somebody and then the car ends up hitting the water and she bumps her head and now she can see the future, kinda. So that's the origin of her power, and the narrative is she can see the future, and at one point she sees these 3 girls get killed by a spider guy, and he's a bad guy. She doesn't like bad guys, so she tries to save the girls from him, and then she's just on the run the entire time. And the spider guy wants to kill them because he doesn't want them to kill him. It doesn't get any deeper than that, really. It's very surface level shit. And that's kind of the entire narrative in a nutshell, with tons and tons and tons of awful scenes that make no sense at all, but I'm not even going to bother breaking those down for you because who gives a fuck? They didn't give a fuck when making it, so why should you, the audience member? I will say, though, this film, for being a superhero film, has no action at all. In fact, none of the superheroes even fight the bad guy. And they don't even wear a costume or anything at all until the very, last scene of the movie. The only thing you get for, a superhero showdown is in Spider Guy's visions, where he sees the 3 Spider Women, beat him up and then toss him out of a window. And that's a 30-second scene. After that, they never actually fight him at all. What happens is, when he shows up, Cassie hits him with a taxi cab at one point, and then that stuns him, and then he shows up again 30 minutes later, and then Cassie hits him with an ambulance, which stuns him. That's the extent of their fighting. The climactic final showdown, he basically beats himself. So Cassie's using her visions of the future and kind of positioning him where he needs to be for the environment to take care of him, because the environment's going up in flames. They did set up some traps to a certain extent, and they kind of give him obstacles to go through, but it's not really fighting him. It's kind of like Amnesia when you're running away from the monster, basically. That's how their fights go with the evil villain, until eventually the environment beats him, and then he gets crushed by a giant sign. It sucks. It sucks. This isn't a superhero movie or anything at all. This is a fucking slop fest, is what it is. It's not entertaining. Morbius, I would actually argue, was more entertaining than Madam Web, and that is saying something. But again, I don't think Madam Web is necessarily worse than Morbius. I still think they're about equal in terms of their shittiness. Another thing that's painfully obvious is that this movie did its absolute best to erase any and all mention of Spider-Man or anything in that universe whatsoever, and tried to keep all of that as minimal as possible, and you could actually feel some cuts where things were just scrubbed. So I truly believe the original vision for this film was something entirely different, and what we got is just a mess. And I'd like to give you a scene that I think perfectly encapsulates just how much effort went into this movie, like how much thought went into this movie at the end of the day. So while the three girls are hiding from Spider Guy, and I should explain, Spider Guy fucked an NSA woman and got her passcode to all of the cameras across the globe so that way he could track down the three girls from his nightmares. So he uses that technology to basically transfer his mind's eye image of these three women and get them in the real world, and he used the NSA computers to access all the cameras to real-time find them with his assistant. So that's how he's able to keep finding them. And Cassie and the gang knew that. They knew they needed to avoid cameras, and they eventually decided to go with Ben, who's Cassie's friend, and keep the three girls there while Cassie's doing some research of her own. And that's working really well. The three girls are at Ben's place. Spider Guy can't find them, and that's all, great stuff. And then the woman staying with Ben has her water break, and she's about to give birth. So now they're rushing to get her to the hospital. And by they, I mean the entire kit and caboodle. The entire group, for some reason, decides to accompany Ben and the woman to the hospital. So all three girls now get in a car and take off down public roads and immediately get picked up by cameras because fucking obviously they would. Why were they going with them to the hospital? I have no idea. They could have just stayed at the house because that was clearly working. And I don't know if I didn't hear the reason why they went with them, or if they just didn't even bother because they didn't think anyone would be awake long enough to even get to that scene. I don't know. But they could have just stayed at the house and been completely safe and avoided conflict with Spider Guy if they had just stayed there. Which would have been the logical thing too, because why does Ben want these three teenage girls accompanying them to the hospital in the first place for the birth here? There's no logic to it. Why would you just fucking stay there? Just stay there and wait. But anyway, they don't. That's just an example of how little thought even really went into the movie. I just don't see what the point of making it even was anymore. It doesn't tie into anything Spider-Verse related. It doesn't want to. It really doesn't want to. And it doesn't really want to try to stand on its own two legs either, so why make it? I don't get it. It's just another blemish on the record of this screenwriting duo that keeps making trash. I like, after seeing it, I'm just kind of at a loss for words for what they expected the response to this one to be, because I really can't imagine anyone sitting down and enjoying it. The biggest sin this movie commits is that it's boring. It's really boring. If you're going to a superhero film, there's at least a couple of things you expect, like the basics of having fights at the bare minimum. Morbius, for all of its flaws, had fights. This doesn't even have that. There's none of that. It's just the worst dialogue ever, constantly, and nothing more. And somehow, even with all of this dialogue, you still learn nothing about the characters. They're still so bland because they don't even give them depth or try to. It's just constantly either saying not good jokes or just saying a whole bunch of fucking nothing to begin with. So anyway, to sum it all up, Madam Web, not good. Boo. Pretty stinky. If I was to plug it into the moist meter, I'd give Madam Web a 15%, I would say. But yeah, I wouldn't even call it like a fun bad movie. It was just bad. I don't know if this one's going to pop off with memes like Morbius did, because there's really nothing memeable about it other than really bad dialogue and nothing else. It's, yeah. But we'll see. Anyway, that's about it. So yeah. I actually got you with a classic prank. I wanted to mention one more thing. By the end of the film, Cassie finally, figures out how her powers work really well, and she immediately uses it to be annoying. So at the end of the film, she ends up going blind to match her comic book counterpart, and she immediately starts seeing the future for everything. And the way she applies this is the three girls come over with some takeout food, and she's like, "Oh, thanks for the," and then lists the takeout food, and they're like, "How did you know that?" And she just smiles, "I saw it." And then she says, "Bless you," to one of them, and she goes, "What do you mean, bless you?" Achoo! Predicting her sneeze. So she's using it just to be annoying. That's so hype. I mean, amazing. I just had to mention that. Okay, now that's it. See ya. I know it's a little early to call this, but I'm going to go ahead and put this in the books that I think we just got the worst movie that 2024 will experience. We basically got the Lord of the Rings Gollum for movies already this year. And I know I said something similar when Night Swim dropped a couple months ago, but I think Megamind 2 Doom Syndicate is much worse, and I'd like to explain why. It just dropped today, and I've already had the entire day ruined by watching it, so I wouldn't wish that curse upon my worst enemy. I know that's not shocking news, there's no one surprised to hear that this is horrible, but I was certainly surprised at just how atrocious it is. Just by giving it the old eyeball test, everyone who looked at any of the trailers or like the 6-minute sneak peek they gave could immediately recognize that they really brought their A game when making Megamind vs. the Doom Syndicate. And by A game, I mean ass game. This shit looks like turbo ass. Fuck me, it's an eyesore to watch. And the only known cure for sore eyes, as recommended by optometrists, is Godslap, baby! That's right, the worst movie of the year may have just dropped, but the best comic of the year just came out. Godslap issue 5 is here right now. You can pick up a copy at badegg.co, link in the description. First of all, it follows a beloved animated film from 2010. The original Megamind was a huge hit, people really liked it, and that was 14 years ago. So it's old enough now to be calling your mother a whore on Xbox Live. And out of nowhere, Peacock announced that they were going to be releasing the sequel this year. And people were pumping their fists like, yeah, more Megamind, let's go! Until they watched the trailer. Immediately, you can see that the Megamind sequel looks significantly worse than the original. Not only does it look worse than the movie from 2010, it looks worse than the video games from 2010 that were just shovelware. The Megamind PlayStation game, which was legitimately just a quick cash grab because that was during the era where every movie had a subsequent game release, just to continue double dipping, double fisting into the consumer's pocketbook. It somehow looks worse than that game, which again was just a quick cash grab. So what was the point? I don't really get it. After watching the movie, it really seems like they did this purely out of obligation, or they did this to test if AI could make a full movie. And I know that's a criticism that gets tossed around a lot, but I really do think AI had a strong hand in the creation of Megamind Doom Syndicate. There's just no reason for its existence. I'd call it a waste of money, but it doesn't feel like they spent any money on it in the first place. Like everyone could recognize from the trailer, it looks horrible. It's as cheaply made as possible. Jimmy Neutron is more visually appealing than this. I don't get why the fuck they'd make it to begin with. It's not like they even really had a story to tell either. It's as simple as it gets. Megamind's the hero now. The Doom Syndicate, they want him to be evil again, so he puts on this facade that he's evil and only pretending to be a hero. And it's just such a snooze fest. Like, nothing happens at all because they didn't want to animate anything at all. So even when you reach the end of the movie where they're having like the final showdown between Megamind and the Doom Syndicate, it looks like you're watching a scene out of the Butt Ugly Martians. They put no effort into any aspect of this. I thought maybe they were saving the budget for the final fight, but that was actually the worst animation for the entire film, surprisingly. So the final fight, it's basically one move for each member, and it defeats them. So, the hypnotist, he gets defeated because Megamind pours a little bit of concrete on him. The lady who's controlling the weather, shooting lightning, she gets defeated because he has her shoot the lightning, and it redirects at her, and it defeats her. And her defeat is a clip I'd really love to play because it is the perfect example of how lazy this shit is. The lightning hits her, and she's like, ooh! And then they don't bother animating anything, so what they do is they just drag her down, and then she falls over. The word stiff doesn't even do it justice. It really feels like this was left in by accident, like it was like the pre-viz, you know, before they go in and polish it up, but then they just said, fuck it, run it, just print it as is. It's so bad. There's nothing in here that's even remotely interesting. The writing is just the safest, by-the-numbers, formulaic lines ever, non-stop puns out the wazoo, which really makes me feel like AI had a large role to play in it, because a lot of the puns feel like something ChatGPT would spit out if you're trying to do like a comedy night with it. It just doesn't work at anything it even aims to do, because it doesn't aim to do anything. It's just actually a waste of an hour and 25 minutes. I think it's actually just there to be noise for children. Like, there's no other purpose for it. It's just a lot of fucking noise for kids, but it doesn't realize that in this day and age, kids get unlimited amount of noise through things like TikTok, where parents just sit them down in front of an iPad and they just endlessly doom scroll TikTok. This is going to be boring even to them, because the attention span has rotted so far, deteriorated to such a alarming degree. This wouldn't do anything. Like, I don't think kids are going to be, you know, Megamind Doom Syndicate fans, because it's fucking boring. I can't think of a single redeeming quality about this movie. Pretty much no one can. It has like a 6% on Rotten Tomatoes, so not even like the most generous critics in the world can drum up a single compliment for it. I would hesitate to call this better than Food Fight, which is that animated disaster that I'm sure everyone remembers because it's been memed to death. It is infamous in how bad Food Fight is, and I would say that this isn't really any better. I would actually say that this is more soulless than Food Fight at the very least. The only thing worse than watching Megamind Doom Syndicate is watching Megamind Rules, the TV show spin-off that they also released the same day as this movie. So, big surprise if you didn't get this news. They released this sequel movie, super stinker, and then they also said, and guess what, there's more, and released an 8-episode TV series. And holy shit, the TV series is even worse. I didn't watch all 8 episodes, I couldn't. I made it through 3. I don't know if there's a human being strong enough on this planet to power through all 8 of those episodes without blowing their brains out. It is torturous. It's so insultingly bad. And yes, I get that this is made for kids, but that doesn't mean that it has to be unwatchably shitty. Avatar: The Last Airbender. The primary audience was made for kids, but anyone of all ages can appreciate it. A good show, even if it's aimed at a younger audience, can be appreciated and enjoyed by people of all ages. That's the sign of good, high-quality entertainment. This is definitely not that. I think they would have been better off just making a Megamind world in Fortnite custom games. It would have at least been a little more entertaining, I imagine, if you put little mini games in there or something. But watching the movie or the show here is just not worth it at all to anybody of any age, I imagine. Like I said, I don't see this being a hit with children because it's, at its core, boring. It's a nothing burger. There is nothing that happens in the show or movie at all. At most, what you'll get is Megamind firing his blaster, and that's it. There's really nothing else. The villains barely use their powers at all, really. I mean, they kinda do, but they only use it for like a single projectile each, mainly. It's just, it's so lame. I don't think anyone is going to like this at all. And I'm not saying the only way for this to have been successful is to have a ton of action or anything, but Jiminy Christmas, it certainly would have helped keep you awake when watching it. The writing is just so bad. Like, even like for a kid's show, it's bad. SpongeBob is a kid's show, and that has great writing. Like, it doesn't matter how old you are or anything. It has great writing if you're fucking 3 years old or 30 years old. Megamind, I don't think it's going to appeal to any age whatsoever. Like, if you put this on, if you put on Megamind Rules while you are pregnant, even your fetus would be bothered by it. It'd start kicking and throwing a tantrum inside your belly. It'd be trying to find ways to strangle itself with the umbilical cord or something. Like, it is miserable. No one, I think, will like this. Megamind vs. Doom Syndicate sucks as a movie. Megamind Rules sucks as a show. It was a waste of time. A complete waste of time. So yeah, that's really about it. See ya. Yeah, I saw this movie last night. I'm sure almost none of you had any interest in seeing this, but I still have to rant about it anyway. It's not a horror movie per se, but I think it kind of billed itself as one, so I went into it expecting it to be one, and I think most people are under the impression. It's one of the sillier films of the year. I don't think it's worse than Tarot. I don't think it's worse than The Strangers. But man, this was still so bad. And what's really cute is that it actually has the old lady from Tarot. So she now has an incredibly stacked 2024, where she has now been in 2 unbelievably atrocious stinkers. And that's kind of admirable. And she plays the exact same character in this movie as she did in Tarot for the most part. The premise is cool. So I actually like the premise. The premise is basically Dakota Fanning, she finds herself in the forest after a pet delivery gone wrong. And she stumbles upon this weird building with these 3 strangers in there. And every night, they have to lock themselves in, and they get watched by mysterious entities on the outside that they can't see, they can only hear. And it lends itself well to some kind of cool mystery. But does anyone care about spoilers? I can't imagine anyone really gives a fuck. Like, is anyone gonna shake their fist at me like, how dare you? If I get into spoilers? Okay, most people are saying no, they don't care about spoilers. If you care about spoilers, my apologies. You can write a strongly worded letter to the manager. So, the film has a cool premise. And about halfway through the movie, probably not even halfway through the movie, they kind of just immediately show their whole ass and they tell you what the Watchers are. And you get to see the Watchers, and they're basically just like these generic tall slender men. And it turns out they're fairies. Like evil fairies. And then the movie dives into like actual Tumblr fanfic, where it's like, before the war, there was humans and fairies living in peaceful symbiosis. We coexisted with the fairies together, but we feared their shape-shifting abilities, how they could become us. So we ripped off their wings and we forced them underground and we locked them under a stone. And now, they can't leave this forest because we asked them not to, basically. So, what they're being watched by is fairies that study them so that way they can take their shape better. It's so fucking dumb. This is not So it's not M. Night Shyamalan, it is his daughter. This is a Shyamalan family production, basically. And in classic Shyamalan fashion, it's a cool premise that they had nothing good to do with it, past the idea, like the ideation. So let me just start breaking down some scenes for you. So, shit just happens for the sake of it happening without any explanation for why this shit is happening. So it starts off okay because the premise is fun. And then as things start to unfold, Dakota Fanning is rebellious and she's got a dark and mysterious past, and she decides to start breaking the rules that the old woman has set. One of the rules is don't go into the burrows because that's where the Watchers come out. And she goes into the burrows with the help of this guy, I forgot his name. She goes into the burrows and she sees like bicycles and like children's toys and stuff. And then all hell breaks loose because the fairies start shape-shifting. But they know this. Like, there's no explanation given, really, like a good one, for why the fairies can't leave the forest. They could just walk out of the forest. There is an explanation given for why they can't leave, the humans here, because they're lost and they can't be out at night because the fairies hunt at night and they don't like the sun. They're like fucking vampires. So they can't leave the forest. I get that. That makes sense. But the fairies, the only explanation for why they can't leave the forest is because they were forced underground thousands of years ago. But they could just walk out. Like, there's no magical force field preventing that. They could just walk the fuck out and then dig a hole. Like, they're afraid of the sun, walk out during the night, dig a hole, stay there during the day, get out of the hole, walk out in the night, dig more holes. It turns out there was a professor who built this building, and who built this bunker underneath the building because he's been studying the fairies. And this was highly unnecessary to even include in there. They just wanted to make him like an evil guy. He's like, he recorded himself with this webcam. He's like, sailor's log, 2009. I started construction on the bunker. I hired locals from the town nearby for fucking 5 schmeckles an hour to build it for me. And I urged them to stay out at night so they'd get mauled and killed by the fairies. Lord, forgive me for my sin. But it's like, brother, you didn't have to do that. Like, you didn't have to just have them die. Like, that's highly inefficient, because then you have to go get more workers every single time and recycle over their dead fucking corpses. Like, you would have to walk over so many bodies for that to happen. You could have just, like, had them do the work, and then had them go home before it gets dark out, and then have them come back. Like, you didn't need that. But it's things like that. Eventually he catches a fairy, and he's, like, training it like a pet. So they're watching these videos of him training the fairy, like learning from the fairy, and then randomly in his last entry he's like, I've got to kill it. I've got no choice. I'm gonna take it behind the barn and I'm gonna fucking shoot it in the heart, and then I'm gonna shoot myself. For no fucking reason. It's like he spent like 100 days with this fairy in a cage, and then he's just like, you know what, I'm tired of playing with this toy, I'm gonna kill it and then kill myself. So he does. Or so you think. So it turns out that fairy was actually a half fairy. Because thousands of years ago, fairies and humans used to fuck. And what happened is, they gave birth to halflings that live amongst us in secret. And that fairy that he captured was a halfling. One that could walk in the day. They called her the Daywalker. Her real name that she said was Arinthabuna or something. Arintha Rancor, Balrog, I don't remember. Something like that. But all of this is just like getting vomited at you all at once towards the end of the movie. It's just like an overwhelming amount of just nonsense. Anyway, the professor eventually in one of the recordings says, hey, I left the boat over there. You can just like go this direction, get on the boat and leave if you want. So they do. And while they're going there, keep in mind, they're fully aware that all of the fairies can change their shape into human beings. This fucking goober here, this absolute imbecile, as they're running towards the boat, he hears one of their friends in the forest and, like, struggling. He's like, John, help! I think his name is John. He's like, John, I need help. Please. Please. And he's like, I'm coming! So he grabs the guy, and turns out it's not John. So then he dies. And they take his shape. And then they sail into the town. And then, big plot twist, the old lady was a fairy the whole time. She was the halfling the professor kept as a pet. Because it turns out the professor had a wife, and the wife died. And the professor tried to train a halfling, or tried to train a fairy to shapeshift into his wife so he could keep fucking her. And that's who this is the whole time. It was a fairy. So, like, his whole thing was like, their shape-shifting abilities can bring anyone back from the dead. Which they can't. It's not resurrecting the dead. It's literally just cosplaying as the dead. It's LARPing as a dead person. So, him having this galaxy brain scheme of bringing his wife back never had any water to it, like no salt, because his wife is still dead. You're then just... You have a puppet of your wife. That's it. At that point, just get a doll, right? Like, it's stupid. His plan is stupid from the beginning. And then... she's mad because fairies hate humans because of what they did, which is why the Watchers watch them and, like, kill them if they break the rules. They study them and then kill them because they're mad. 1,000 years worth of bad blood and a grudge. But when old lady is confronted by Dakota Fanning in the climactic final battle, Dakota Fanning's like, I know what it's like to not feel like you belong. Because it turns out her dark and mysterious past is she got her mom killed because they were on a road trip, and she was like a little brat who rolled down the window, and the mom was like, can you roll up that window? And then Dakota Fanning's like, I hate you! I hate you! I hate you! I'm not rolling down the window! I'm not rolling down the window! So the mom's like, what are you doing? Why are you freaking out? And she's like, I'm gonna roll up the window myself. So the mom starts rolling up the window, and Dakota Fanning's character puts her fingers out the window and gets them crushed, and she's like, ah! And then the mom's like, what happened? And then she crashes into a car and dies. So she carries that guilt with her the entire time. And she, like, trauma dumps that towards the end. So then the halfling gets all of that information, and Dakota Fanning's like, the professor never told you? You're half human. And she's like, no, I can't be! I'm so conflicted! And then she's like suffering from the revelation that she's half human, half fairy, and then her wings pop out of her butt, and then she flies away. And now she's looking for more halflings. It's pretty fucking bad. It's pretty bad. But it's not nearly as bad as some of the other trash this year. But I like, there was multiple times where I did this, like I gestured this emote, because they were just making things up out of nowhere with no real payoff or build up to it. They're just like, oh yeah, end this. Oh yeah, end this. Because of that. Because I said so. Should watch a bad movie in the sub Discord with everyone. That's kind of a fire idea. But yeah, I just wanted to share that because I saw this last night. I just had to relay the information. No, I really think the Shyamalan family has great ideas. This is a cool premise for a movie. What they need, what the Shyamalan family desperately needs, is somebody to flesh out their premise better than they can. That's what they need. Like, this movie could have probably slapped. I just saw the Crow remake, and I am happy to report it's a fun bad movie. Makes you want to wiggle your finger. Because most super stinkers we've been getting in recent memory have been boringly trash or unwatchably abominable. It's so refreshing to be able to stew in my swamp ass in a nice cinema and experience a film that knows how to finally tap dance on the line between dog shit and holy shit, I'm actually having fun. Now, it's not a great movie by any means, so if you're going into that expecting it to be, you're going to be disappointed, but it's also not a good movie, so if you're going in there expecting a good movie, you're also going to be disappointed. It's so bad it's good, baby, and those are some of my favorites. Now, I want to be clear, I don't think the movie's awful or anything either. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people saying it's, one of the worst movies of the year or something like that. It's not. It's really not. There are things to like about this film. I was pleasantly surprised at how not unwatchably horrible it was. I went into this with the lowest possible expectations, and I was pleasantly surprised that I was having a good time with it. Even though it's probably not the great time it wanted me to have, because again, I'm someone who likes fun bad films, and I would definitely classify this as fun bad. But even aside from that, I do think there are a lot of things in this movie that people will just straight up enjoy, not even like ironically or as a so bad it's good thing. And I'll go ahead and get those compliments out of the way before diving into what makes it not a great film, and then getting into why I had actually a good time seeing it. So what I think this movie does really well is its action. Now, there is some CGI blood here and there, which you've just come to expect for most movies these days, so I wasn't like terribly let down with that. I was caught off guard by how competent the action was, especially its final fight sequence. It's set to like a full opera performance where the Crow is going around murdering tons of dudes in over-the-top fashion while getting peppered with bullets, blood and guts flying all over the place. He even has a sword with him the whole time, so he's just like stabbing people with a sword, and he's getting really creative with it. So he has godly powers, so he's not dying, and someone stabs him with the sword, leaves it there, and he feels all the pain, so he's like, ooh, ouch, ew, big boo-boo here. And he was punching a guy who's on the ground, so now he has the sword in his stomach, and what he decides to do is just slowly lower himself down onto the dude's head. So he's taking the sword that's in his chest, and he's just bringing the dude's head closer to it as he gets lower, and it just stabs him straight through the eye. And then another cool one he does is he puts the sword in someone's mouth and shoves it back, so just splitting their mouth, or splitting their head from the mouth down, and then like the jaw and everything just hangs. It's so silly in the best way. And it's all set and sometimes even synced to the opera music. I thought it was great, like actually great. Nothing bad about that except for like some CGI blood, which again, I've come to expect it from blockbusters, so I wasn't, taken out of the experience by it or anything. I really enjoyed that. And I also enjoyed the couple of other action sequences they sprinkled throughout the movie. Really, anytime there was action, it was good. Big problem, there's not a lot of it. The times where they do have action isn't until like over an hour into the movie, really. You go through an hour having to eat your vegetables with a terribly written drama that sounds like it's something straight out of CW, and then you finally get your dessert with the great action sequences when he becomes the Crow. Now, there is a little bit more I want to talk about there. I'm going to get into spoilers here. I have to get into spoilers here talking about this movie, because as you can tell, I enjoyed it. I understand it's not a good movie by any means, but it's a movie where I was very pleasantly surprised that it wasn't unwatchable, because the trailers and everything made it look truly atrocious. Like, everyone was talking about how the new Crow looks like Jared Leto's the Joker. And they're right. He does. But the way they lean into that in the second half of the movie, I was just sold. I was like, you know what? That's great. They're just unironically committing to this super stupid, like basically graffiti on a public restroom door level of tattoos for the Crow here, and just running with it. So then he puts on tattoo ink on his eyeballs and connects it to his lips, and just they whole hog sin that. And it's hard to even find it cringe at that point. They wore that on their sleeve. And I actually like the style. The style I kind of came to appreciate. At first I was like, ooh, this is kind of lame and dorky. But by the end, when he's over there just murdering people while looking like he was in My Chemical Romance 15 years ago, I was like, you know what? I'm in. But that's really all of the good things I can say about the movie. There are also little bits and pieces of a good performance from Bill Skarsgård here as Eric. Now, I'm going to do my best not to compare this to the original because it was never going to stand up to the original. It never even stood a fucking chance. I'm just going to be talking about it on its own two legs here with its own merit. But Bill Skarsgård performance, like, there are times where he did a great job, but some of the material he had to work with was just pretty weak. I think he was great in all of the action moments, though. I really liked his portrayal of the Crow fucking obliterating dudes. It was wonderful. But now let's talk about everything wrong with the film, and hooey. I hope you're ready for a doozy. I wrote a couple notes. So first off, the pacing in this film is awful, and it really feels like a lot of this movie was cut, because there's like some characters that are like propped up to be somewhat important, forgotten about, and then brought back like we're supposed to care or even know who they are. So it feels like there's a lot of things in this film that just didn't connect, and whatever they filmed to connect it was just taken out during editing for some reason, or they lost the footage. Maybe the file got corrupted. I have no fucking clue. But the pacing is terrible, and their attempt to make you care about the characters and their relationship just really falls flat. Even though I do think there was like some good chemistry between Eric and Shelley, the writing, like the dialogue between them is just not very good. I wrote down a couple of their lines. So, first off, the narrative, I'm sure you all know what The Crow is about. Eric falls in love with a girl. They're madly in love. They then get killed in a terrible way. Eric is then given the opportunity to come back with some godly power to right the wrongs. That's the speed run of the narrative there. The main bad guy is a music buff who loves the piano, and he made a deal with the devil a long time ago, and the contract stipulates that he has to sacrifice innocent lives to send them to hell, and he gets to be immortal, basically. And the way that he kills people is by whispering in their ear, and then they kill themselves. So he basically just talks some shit. He gets into their ear and starts, you know, like the way they portray it is like the very cliche, like devil speak. But honestly, like when he just leans in and whispers and it's just a bunch of mumbo jumbo, I kept picturing Courage from Courage the Cowardly Dog going, and then like immediately they kill themselves or something. So like his power is stupid. But I don't mind the supernatural element of giving the main bad guy some power too, because the Crow has power, so it could be like a fun clash. Spoiler alert, it wasn't when they actually fought. We'll get to that later. But anyway, the beginning of the movie is spent fleshing out Shelley. She's on the run from that evil bad guy. Turns out her mom sold her to him for fame, fundamentally, and he was doing terrible shit. She eventually managed to escape, but now some things have changed, and the bad guy's trying to catch her and her friends, and he's already killed one of her friends. It eventually leads to her landing at rehab, where she locks eyes with Eric. And immediately after just like a quick glance, they fall in love. Because the next scene, Eric, who they've already established is like this outcast loner, like he doesn't really speak, he's super reserved, he's not all there, he's kind of fucked up. And the next scene after they lock eyes there, he's eating at a table, she walks over, says hi, he says nothing, he just completely just fucking like a statue of stone, doesn't respond. She eventually cracks through that hard exterior, gets through that shell, and one of the first things he says to her is that he likes her tattoo, and the tattoo said, "Laugh now, cry later," and she made a remark about how that's kind of how her life is played out. And he says in response, verbatim, I wrote it down because I didn't want to miss this one, because you might want to use this on Tinder or something. It's a great line. He said, "My life is more like cry now, cry later." And then he like walks away shortly after. Just drops like some pure emo shit. He's like, "Yeah, I can't stop crying. Yeah, I cry all the time." And then he leaves. She then goes to his cell, and he's got a lot of art on the walls, and she was like picking up some of the art that was on the floor and noticed that there was a drawing of her naked. Keep in mind, all we've seen from this point is they shared a quick meal together, and he just says that he cries a lot. He fucking sobs all the time. And then she passes by his cell and sees that he has drawn a picture of her naked with her honkers out. And there is like a focus on the titties, it seems, in the art. And she takes it as a good thing. Like, she's super thrilled about that, whereas I think any sane person would be like, that's creepy. That's super weird. That's very odd that you've done that. I'm gonna leave now. But instead, she then goes inside, and they fall in love. Immediately. Actually fall in love right then and there. And then right after that, they escape together from the rehab facility. Because some of the bad guys had found out she was there, tried to catch her, and then they both skedaddle. So yeah, that's the level of writing that they set up for the characters here. So it's hard to take that seriously. It's bad, but I found it to be fun bad, because the writing is so silly. Now, after they escape, they just start having sex all the time. They just keep steaming ham, and that's supposed to showcase that they're really madly in love. Like, right after they escape, they go to a place that she knows, and then she immediately asks him, like, "Hey, so, like, you ever been seriously in love?" "Okay, neither have I, but I'm seriously in love right now." And one of the things she says, which becomes, like, a profound statement later, is, "If you ever find it difficult to love me, just love me harder," or something to that effect. It was almost verbatim that. It's just so stupid. It's so dumb. They spend an agonizingly long time with this relationship that I don't think anyone's going to care about, because it's just not done very well. The only way they even show that they love each other is by showing them fucking. Like, that's about it. That's the level of depth. Oh, and they go out all the time together, which is really stupid when it comes to the story in the movie, because she is on the run from the devil. She is on the run from the devil man and all of his associates that are hot on her tail. And they go out all the time. They go to clubs, they go out drinking, they have a ton of friends that go on vacations. I don't know how much time passes from the rehabilitation center to the time where they do actually catch her, but it doesn't seem like that long of a time period. It feels like it's only a couple months at most, and they're already like soulmates bonded together. But it's really stupid that the main thing they do is go out together, like clubbing and drinking, and that's eventually what gets her caught by the bad guys, because fucking obviously it would. They're basically like in witness protection here, trying to stay as under the radar as possible, and their number one hobby is going out in public as much as possible. Like, it wouldn't even be hard to find them. You just need to ask any bar in town, "Hey, have you seen Eric or Shelley?" And they'd be like, "Oh yeah, they're regulars here. In fact, they're probably in the back right now." Like, I don't know why that would be the number one choice for people that are on the run from the devil, trying to hide from them. So the bad guys show up, and they kill both of them. And then that's when Eric becomes the crow. And that's when the movie finally gets somewhat interesting. But I actually liked how stupid all of that drama was, because I have an appreciation for So Bad It's Good, and it wasn't boring. And I love goth. Like, I'm a huge fan. I'm really upset that they didn't do as much with the goth atmosphere as I would have liked. I think there was a lot more potential to go even harder, even more unapologetically goth with a lot of what they were doing. But they pulled some of the punches in that regard. But they didn't pull any punches when it came to laughably bad writing. It was so fun watching these characters talk to each other and do the stupidest activities together. But even though I know it's turbo ass when it comes to like the first hour of this movie, I was just having a good time with it. Like, fucking Eric is dressing like Doflamingo. It's just so silly. But when he becomes the crow, things do improve a little bit. The action, I think, is great, but the problem is the bad writing persists, and then it stops being fun, shitty writing. So, let me explain what I mean by that. There's a couple decisions with the narrative that I think just really are nonsensically stupid. So one of the stipulations of Eric having his power is that his love needs to be pure, and he'll be able to right the wrongs and bring her back and whatever. But the second his love even starts to waver a little bit, he loses his power. So he basically has to become the Crow twice. Because he starts to doubt her after seeing that the devil man made her do something bad, which is really weird and out of character for Eric here, who's infatuated with her, so much so that he is going to fucking start murdering people to bring her back from hell. And he sees that she did something while being forced to by the devil, and he's like, oh, I can't even look at her the same anymore. Actually, I kind of hate that bitch. Can't get it out of my head. I think I'm gonna quit. So then his love starts to waver, and he loses the ability to heal, so he gets shot with a shotgun, and he can't heal it anymore. So then he, like, goes back, and the guy's like, your love stopped being pure. You know, the enemy of love is doubt. Have fun in heaven now. Your girl's in hell. Your fault. And he's like, wait. Another chance. And he's like, okay. So he becomes the Crow twice, which I think is highly unnecessary, and it brings everything to a screeching halt. It didn't need to happen like that. That just was a totally useless thing, really. And there's a couple other instances where it just takes away its own momentum. Like, it takes the wind out of its own sails multiple times. Like, when he becomes the Crow, they're setting up great moments, some great set pieces, and then they'll do shit that nobody gives a fuck about. It makes no sense. Like, they already spent an hour building a relationship poorly. They failed to do that. But now, can you at least give us just like a good 30-40 minutes of the Crow just going on revenge killings here? Like, that's satisfying. It's the simplest formula ever. But even when they're stumbling, I'm having a good time with it. Like I said, it is a fun, bad movie. Like, by no means is it a great film, and also by no means is it some, like, unwatchably horrible film either. I'm sure there's gonna be a lot of people saying, like, this is just as bad as Borderlands or something like that. It's just not. It's not even close. Even if you're not a fan of fun, bad movies, there are things to like about this one. The action is good. And there are a couple other moments in the film that are good. It's just the overall package of the movie isn't that good. But man, again, I enjoyed it. I had fun with it. I really did. It's like all of 2024 has so many bad films and almost none of them are enjoyably shitty. This one is. So that's always special. And I wanted to talk about it a little bit. That's really about it. See ya. It's finally here. The underwhelming conclusion to the perpetual failure machine that was Sony's lack of Spider-Man universe with villains that were actually heroes, not even anti-heroes. Every movie in this pitiful attempt was bad. At best, one was mid. Not exactly a glowing success. But Kraven is here. No one wanted it, but it's here. No one's seeing it, but it's here. It dropped to a whopping 11% on Rotten Tomatoes, which I know doesn't really mean anything, but even the people that aren't just like Rotten Tomatoes critics don't like it. And it was pretty clear that this wasn't going to be a good movie from the very first trailer, really. And it only got worse as time went on, where even the director came out and publicly begged, actually groveling, for people to go see the movie, saying to please give it a chance. The writing was on the wall that this wasn't going to be good. But it is better than Madam Web. And it's better than the worst movie of the year, Borderlands. I will get my best compliment out of the way for Kraven right now. Things happen. And that is more than you can say for both Madam Web and Borderlands. Now, that's about where the compliments come to a screeching halt, really. There are some action sequences that are good, unfortunately brought down by really bad CGI, but despite that, there are some good action moments. Like, there's 2 kills in here that I actually thought were pretty cool, like kind of creative. So that was nice. And that's every single compliment that I could possibly fish out for this movie. So I just got back from seeing it and fighting off the drowsiness from how boring the first act was, and I took some notes, which is how you know the movie wasn't very good when I start taking notes. I do want to mention that they had it in the biggest theater there, like the biggest screen, and I was one of only like 10 people seeing it. So I'm getting the impression that this isn't going to be a, smash hit. Not going to be a grand slam here, I'm going to tell you that much. But I think we all knew that because it's a Sony no Spider-Man movie. they just are not working. And luckily they're done with it, so that's good at least. Anyway, though, the first half of the film, they dropped the first 8 minutes on YouTube, so you can kind of get a gauge for how the movie kind of plays out. He is not a bad guy. He's not a villain. He's not even an anti-hero. Kraven is just a full-blown hero. He hunts bad guys. He even has a list of bad guys, an actual Santa Claus naughty list, and he goes and kills them. So the whole premise of the film is he's killing bad guys in order to save a family member, which happens in the second act towards the end. In the first act, though, after the 8-minute intro, which has a couple of action sequences and he breaks out of a prison, after that it's a flashback, and he's hunting with his father, Russell Crowe. Russell Crowe is on a real stinky streak. He has been in so many shit films recently. He's just in that era where he's just taking paychecks. Like, he's not really even trying that hard. In this movie in particular, I don't think he even really gave a fuck. Like, he didn't even bother to try and have fun with it. He just looked bored in every scene. It was just, he was cashing it in, which, you know, it's Kraven. I don't think anyone thought this would be good. But that always brings me back to, I know I'm not even talking about the movie right now in particular, but it always brings me back to, like, common sense. A movie of this scale, with this kind of budget, goes through so many different departments, so many different people put their fingers in the pie. How could nobody pipe up and say, hey, this is bad. Nobody's going to want to see this. Like, I don't know how that doesn't happen. Like, I understand lazy cash grabs, but usually a lazy cash grab has a chance of making money. Kraven never even stood a fucking chance. What's the point? It's not like they even tried to do anything with it, really. They were more than content just being generic, and that's all. I don't get it. Anyway, though, so they're in the flashback for the first, like, 35 minutes of the movie-ish, probably. That's another thing. This movie didn't even have the courtesy of being short. It was a long movie. It was a fucking slog. I don't think it was over 2 hours, but it was pretty close. So the first, like, 35 minutes, they're in the flashback, and Kraven and his brother are with their father. He's a real asshole. They don't like him. They're hunting. There's this, like, big, chunky lion that is a legend, and their father, Nikolai, wants to kill the lion so he can become a legend, but instead the lion has a staring contest with Kraven, Sergei. So they have a staring contest for some reason. They, like, bond, and then Nikolai shoots the lion, and then the lion panics and mauls Sergei, and then carries him off into some bushes and plops him down. And then a girl comes over with a magic potion and dumps it in his mouth. So that girl is Calypso, and in this flashback, there was a different flashback scene where Calypso's with her grandmother, and she's doing like a tarot card reading that ends on the strength card, which has a lion on it, and then the grandmother gives her a potion and says it's going to heal someone in undreamed of ways. And then that girl is on like a photography trip with her parents, and she randomly decides to like get up and leave, and then she stumbles across the lion and Sergei, and then she pours the magic elixir in his mouth and gives him the tarot card and vanishes. So then he wakes up with superpowers. That's his origin story. It's really fucking lame. It's super lame. But it's bad. It's just bad. It's just bad. Then after starting to figure out that he's got new powers and stuff, he decides to abandon his brother and leave his father behind and go live in the woods. And he's basically just Tarzan. He's just Tarzan. A lot of the first 35 minutes is spent with him staring into animals' eyes as animals stare into his eyes. There are so many scenes of them just locking eyeballs. Like, all of the animals fucking worship him all of a sudden because of, like, the lion blood inside of him. It's really lame. So anyway, he's Tarzan now. He's living in the woods, and there's some poachers. Poachers are like the big bad guys that kind of bring Kraven to life. So he kills some poachers, because everyone hates poachers. Poachers fucking suck. They are villains. And in this movie, they're like the first bad guys we're introduced to. So Kraven kills the poachers. Honestly, the first 35 minutes felt like an R-rated version of the Wild Thornberrys, but without him speaking to animals. They were communicating telepathically. And that even comes in towards the end of the movie where the impression is he like summons a stampede. Like, there's this I guess I don't want to spoil everything, but it's implied that he like summons a stampede, so he's like some kind of influence over the animals to a certain extent. He's like Aquaman, but on land. He's fucking Landman. Anyway, though, I'm breaking the timeline here. So after like hunting poachers and shit, it fast forwards again 16 years later, and we see Calypso. She's now a lawyer, and one of her friends has been killed after investigating some bad guys. And Kraven shows up at the funeral and hands her the tarot card that she left him 16 years ago. Somehow, he found her 16 years later from only the tarot card and nothing else. They don't even explain it. They just say he took a while to find her. He just says, yeah, it took me a while, but I found you. Fair enough, I guess. He's very good at tracking people, is what they're trying to get across. But he shows up at the funeral, hands her the tarot card back. Now they become friends. And he wants to work with her to start finding the people that are on this list more efficiently. I will say, though, if he's supposed to be like the master tracker and he can find anyone, kind of underwhelming that he then goes to a lawyer to just find people for him. Seems just kind of lazy, or maybe he's just not that good at it. Also possible. So they team up kind of to like get all the bad guys so Kraven can kill them. We then learn about the Rhino. The Rhino is basically a dweeb. He's a guy who everyone counted out and underestimated, so his big character arc is he got real strong by going to this doctor in New York who gave him like tenfold strength enhancement, but it ended up making his skin rhino-like. So then he takes like a serum to keep the rhino side suppressed because it hurts. He doesn't like the pain of being Rhino. So that's like the main bad guy is the Rhino. We get like a side bad guy named the Foreigner, and he has like the ability to like brainwash people temporarily, where he'll just count 1, 2, and then they're like kind of stunned, like they're frozen, while he can move around freely. So he just kind of like teleports around like that while they're stunned, which is a cool power. Like that's pretty strong, but they don't really utilize it super well. Like one of the times they use it is where the Foreigner is talking to this guy who just fed wrong on purpose information to Calypso. It was all a ploy to like fool Calypso to get Kraven to a certain spot. And the Foreigner was talking to this guy, and then he's ready to kill him. So the Foreigner, hypnotizes him. 1, 2, and then he just shoots him during that. You could have just shot him. Like the guy that he shot was unarmed. He was just standing in a stairwell. What was the point in even putting him in the trance? You could have just shot him. Like, it's a cool power that I don't think they utilize in a really cool way, unfortunately. Because anytime he uses it, it's kind of just like a gun would have done the same thing and nothing else. Like, you didn't need the power. Like, it never at any point got him out of a really sticky situation, per se. He could have always just shot the person or the people that were there. So kind of underutilized, but I actually thought that character was interesting at the very least, because he's also like a master assassin. So that's kind of cool, like the master hunter versus the master assassin. When they actually square off, kind of sucks. It just kind of sucks. I'm not going to spoil how that goes. I just thought that was a really lackluster way of dealing with that guy, with the Foreigner. I'm not even going to bother with the rest of the notes. The movie's just not good. You weren't planning on seeing it anyway. Nobody is planning on seeing this movie. For good reason. It's just a waste of time. Like I mentioned, there's a couple decent action moments, but I can't even say like full action scenes are good, because the CGI is so bad in those scenes that it does weigh that down. So you can only have like a couple flashes of decent moments. So like him using the bear trap to kill a guy was cool. Him setting up this elaborate trap with bear traps and a giant log, that was cool. But the rest of that scene around it, not very cool. So there's like a couple of moments that are decent, but overall it's just not really a good movie. It is infinitely better than Madam Web, though. That movie had nothing in it, like actually nothing, and it's better than the Borderlands movie because that movie also had nothing in it, and Borderlands is still worse because not only did it have nothing in it, but it had the worst fucking jokes ever. At least Kraven, this movie, doesn't really have many jokes, like maybe 1 or 2 total. So it's better than 2 of the worst movies of the year. So it's improvement, like all things considered, for the Sony villain Spider-Man verse, but they're not villains, they're actually heroes, there's just no Spider-Man. Anyway, that's really about it. See ya.